Welcome to America's Third Party. Long live liberty. Thank you, everybody. Welcome to our show. Freedom Friday is beginning right now. Thank you. I'm in the White House of the future. Bright, clean walls, nobody smoking Newport cigarettes. There's no crack pipes, cooking in the back room. A future where we actually believe in the integrity of the presidency. A restoration, if you will, to a more honest presidency than what we've got today. We've got a puppet who does whatever he's told. Now, Barack Obama promised people he'd get them out of Afghanistan. He's keeping us in Afghanistan. And he's doing it on a daily basis. He's changing his mind right in front of the Democratic Party as they're trying to endorse Hillary. They're wondering, wow, how can Barack Obama continually lie? And how can we as Democrats be taken seriously? And somebody says, Dave, you need a better intro. Well, make one for me. Go ahead. Make me one. I'd love to see it. This whole thing is based on volunteerism. That intro was made by Scissor Fight, one of our supporters, and I really appreciated it. But if you really like to make intros, go for it. We only need about 15 seconds. Yeah, and that's the point I was going to make. Guest 624 says, heroin is keeping us in Afghanistan. Look it. Don't call me a name, and you will be banned for that. I was just getting ready to say that heroin is keeping us in Afghanistan, and I can tell you that Barack Obama has been hiding the heroin connection. And the reason why is the people that power up his presidency and make him the puppet that he is, that you voted for, obviously, are completely out to lunch. Barack Obama is doing the work of the CIA. They're making $50 billion on Afghanistan. And our men are being kept there to guard the warlords. You're going to ask yourself, well, why don't the men talk about that when they come home? They're not allowed to. I need a hairstylist? Why is that? You don't like the way my hair looks? Are you going to fall into that gap of being superficial in our show tonight? Please, let's not talk about hair, okay? Let's talk about the issues. We've got a picture that is not appropriate, so we're going to ban you. I'll purge you for now. This is your last warning. Whew, wow. There's a lot of people trying to demoralize me on a nightly basis, thinking that's somehow going to work. They don't realize that they are the problem. They are the mindless, dribbling sheeple that are literally being recycled by the elitists. Every year, you're being told lies by the two parties, and you just simply vote two parties because you think somehow doing the same thing over and over again will somehow save you. And you expect different results every time, and it's kind of sad. So try not to be one of the sheeple and step out of the box. Thank you, Smay. Well, I'm not only running, I'm jogging. I'm trotting, and I'm running. Have you ever done any horseback riding? It's pretty amazing. You start trotting, and then you're literally galloping at one point. You're running and then galloping. I mean, it's pretty amazing. So we're starting by the crawl here. This is a third-party crawl. So if you're wondering why we do the show every night with the hope that someday we'll be able to build this movement, it's because it's working. Refried Bacon says, help me, David. You're my only hope. I'm the guy who's going to help all of you, or at least try. And I'm the guy who's going to build this third party into something bigger than it could possibly ever be. The reason why I've been chosen to do this is because I chose it myself. I made the decision in my life to do this, and nobody can stop me. And that's the beauty of what we're doing at America's Third Party. We're actually building the centrist ideal party where we actually communicate with both sides and answer questions on both sides of the political spectrum. So if you have any questions, feel free to come in and talk about it. We are at Third Party. If you're a Twitter follower, please follow us. But this is a growing movement, and I really am glad that a lot of people have taken it seriously. This country needs something more than ever before that's different. And I am not reading anything. In fact, I am talking from my heart. I don't read off a teleprompter. I never have. I've always done this show directly from inside of my being. And I evoke popular interest. I keep the ball rolling every night. I give you a good 4 hours of my time. And I've done this for 7 years consistently. Now, can you imagine anybody more committed than I am to my cause? I can't, personally. Let me show you what's going on. Lamar Odom is said to regain consciousness. He speaks. I'm not really sure what's going on with Lamar. Maybe some of you know. But that's a story that that's out there. Let's take a look. I don't know if Lamar was, he's said to regain consciousness. He's speaking. Who's been fighting for his life in Las Vegas hospital, regained consciousness Friday, but his condition remains guarded after he collapsed in a Nevada brothel following a weekend binge, according to sources familiar with the situation. Okay, so Lamar has been doing a little bit of the, drugs and prostitution. And I guess living like a rock star can really take its toll on people. David can speak Chinese. You guys should hear it seriously. I'd rather not. You never know whether you're with people from Cantonese dialect or Szechuan or the Mandarin. You never know what kind of dialect to use when talking to a Chinese person. So yeah, I'm sorry to hear about his tragic burnout. He's kind of imploding, but hopefully he'll feel better soon. He charged $75,000 on his credit card at that brothel. Wow. Caitlyn Jenner did kill somebody. That woman that died in that accident. It looks like a vehicular situation for sure. Well, you cannot know. No, because I don't know if you're Cantonese, Szechuan, or Mandarin. Or maybe you're from Mongolia. Which dialect should I use? Well, there's another false flag everywhere you turn in American politics right now, but why would we dedicate our show to false flags? Do you really seriously want to talk about the government lying to you? And, gee, really? Did that happen? Oh my gosh. Is it a shock to you that the government lies? You are drinking fluoride. Most of you are. In your soft drinks, in your tap water, in your beer. Fluoride is everywhere. And one of the things I'm going to do is remove fluoride from our drinking water. And I almost feel like starting the fluoride party because there's so many people that want to do that. Somebody said, did you hear about Donald Trump wanting to date his daughter? Yeah, absolutely. We play that video almost every night now. No, I never ever met Bruce Lee. Many of you are wondering, is Bruce Lee my secret sensei? No, he was not my secret sensei. He did not teach me all of his many different skills. I learned them from the place he learned them, the Shaolin Temple. As a young boy, my name was Kwai Cheng Kang, and I was asked by the sensei, "Grasshopper, can you snatch the pebbles from my hand?" I should put my glasses on. "Grasshopper, can you snatch the pebbles from my hand?" "Yes, master." No, I was not at the Shaolin Temple. That's just a joke. Well, let's get serious. Let's listen to Donald Trump. Come on. Let's listen to the Trumpster, as he's the shyster trying to take our country away from us.
Hey, so Donald.
Would you vote for a guy who is willing to date his daughter?
All right, I'm afraid to ask this question, but what would you do?
Come on. We're waiting. It's queuing up.
Playboy put Ivanka on the cover of the magazine, and she had not.
This is going to be an interesting answer.
Now, this is a very interesting thing because, Playboy just pulled, out of all their magazines, they're going to pull all nudity. Yes, it was David Carradine, the man who was killed for fighting for children's rights in Bangkok. Nobody investigated his murder except his brother, who found out that indeed he was murdered. David Carradine was murdered. Yeah. I'm going to show you right now Donald Trump willing to, well, I'll let him speak for himself because he's so good at putting feet in his mouth and munching on his toenails. Let's listen to this and I'll tell you what my commentary is about it in a second.
He doesn't even want you to have a drink. I know him. So
It would be really disappointing. Not really. But it would depend on what was inside the magazine.
If she posed, it would be fine. But if they put her picture
Yeah, but
on,
it depends on what goes inside the magazine.
Well, see, that's
Inside
her
the
gripe.
magazine.
That's
Right.
this girl's gripe.
And there
People
was nothing.
assume there'll be nude photos.
Right, you do assume that with
Misleading.
Playboy.
okay, she.
But if there weren't, you wouldn't have an issue with it then. If they were using her to...
I don't think Ivanka would do that inside the magazine, although she does have a very nice figure. I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her.
Wow. Okay, so you got a guy who wants to date his daughter. I get it. That's a little weird. Now I'm going to suggest that maybe, now this is kind of weird, but maybe, now just hypothetically, in the next year, Playboy is going to feature Ivanka. And she's not going to be taking any clothes off. Because remember, Playboy has removed clothing optional from all of they're going to have no more nakedness at all. Ivanka is nice. What are you talking about? She's a nice lady. I've even suggested that Sarah and I and Ivanka and Donald could hang out and have dinner, even though I called him corporate pig publicly. But I don't want to make enemies from people. I just don't like his style, and I certainly don't like the fact that he's got all these bankruptcies behind him. There's a lot of problems with him, and the fact that he's using all my ideas to get popular in the mainstream media. Without money, I'm unable to get any voice at all heard at all. We, the American people, are without a voice. Donald has all the money in the world to buy media time. But I can talk about how he, in 2007 on The View, wanted to date his daughter. I wouldn't doubt she's working on it, because Playboy is getting ready to present women without nudity at all. So the new Playboy move is to pull all nakedness from their centerfold. So in a way, this is kind of a compromise. If Ivanka does this, Playboy, spread, she'll be totally clothed. So it's kind of a win-win. No, he didn't steal my life or my money. He stole all my ideas. Yeah. And now he's running with them as if they're his. I don't have the kind of money that would be necessary to run for president. Steve Forbes threw nearly $60 million of his own money at the presidency a few elections ago, and it was a total waste. I'm not about to do that. And my whole theory is that if the American people don't really want a person to speak for them and a people's president, then they just will kick back and get whatever they deserve. That's the bottom line. It's up to you if you really want to be led by a man who really is one of you, not some elitist like Donald Trump or Jeb Bush or Hillary Clinton. So I wouldn't doubt that she's going to be doing something just to promote his candidacy. I seriously wouldn't. Well, you might think it's because nudity is free everywhere else on the internet. That's the reasoning that Playboy kind of, put it out there. I thought it was a bold and perhaps short-sighted move. Many people would think, well, maybe they should do more of the Bob Guccione full spreads, where the models are spreading out, But no, they're going in the more prurient direction, where they're supposed to be, all careful and everything. Politically correct. No, I am one of you. I happen to have an IQ of 185, though. So it's not that I consider myself a superior. I don't. I just consider myself extremely aware. I don't look around people and go see them as less than me. I'm one of the guys, man. I fit right in. When I walk around, people don't even notice me. I'm transparent. Sometimes when I put my my special outfit on, you can barely even see I'm there. I mean, if you walked up to me in public and I said, "Hey, how are you?" Would you notice me? You can barely even see me. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? You're not even here now, I know. Your psyche is here. You're telegraphing from some remote location through the communicator, your tablet. Print media died, I know. 2008, I used to know some print media people online when we first started. No, I've not gotten the IM. I'm sorry. Let me open up an IM page. We sometimes go IM-less on our show, simply because it's easier on our processor. I'm running 24 gigabytes of RAM, and I can handle a little bit, but right now I've got 15 to 25 browsers open, browser pages open, on top of broadcast.
Browsers open, browser pages open, on top of broad.
That's what happens when I do that. All right, my IMs are available now. Go ahead. I don't care about Playboy. I'm much more into to the American people talking about issues. So let's talk about it. Let's get down and let's boogie. Are you turning into kind of a zombie? Do you feel like every day you're starting to appear like this thing right here? This unnamed thing? You feel a little like Blobby? For lack of a better word, we'll call him Blobby. Hey Blobby, how are you? Well, you may be a victim of what appears to be fluoridation, aerial spraying of chemicals in the air. And you're probably going to want to know why you're so thirsty and hungry, too, like Munchie. So we're going to get to the reasons why your behavior is changing and why you feel a little listless and complacent. Tonight we'll talk a little bit about what they're doing to us and how they're turning all of us into mental midgets. Yeah. Fluoride lowers your IQ by a significant amount. Studies at Harvard Medical Review in 2012 verified this. This is something that we have to discuss because it's important. If you'll notice that some of the family members, that are kind of like these creatures. You walk up to them and they're like, you love your family member, you don't want bad things to happen, but you need to waken them up. Mr. Rogers. You want Mr. Rogers on cue? Okay, here you go. Does that make you feel better? Now that you have Mr. Rogers? He was notorious, by the way, for saying the S word at home. His wife couldn't control him saying the S word. I've only said the S word 2 times on my show. And that's in reference to composting. Well, I know it's cute, but I've got these cute little characters to help you remind yourself of the people you're walking around every day at the market. Well, Mr. Rogers, he liked to cut loose and, use the S word because he's such a straight guy. I mean, he couldn't do it on his show. I mean, you can only imagine, "Hi, boys and girls. Welcome to the neighborhood. Would you like to learn how to do some composting today? We could learn how to pile beep and then go ahead and take a beep in the middle of the compost heap." He would have loved that. Mr. McFeely would have liked that too, yeah. That's outrageous. Don't even go there. I think Mr. Rogers was a great guy, and I know Sarah loved him. She used to watch him on TV when she was a kid, so let's not speak ill of the dead, shall we? Well, let's be clear. Oops. Gotta go right. Exit stage right. Okay. We're going to put these guys to rest for now. But thank you. We'll bring them in once you realize that you're a zombie yourself, and we're going to try to awaken you tonight. According to the report, the Chinese Navy attacked a U.S.-based cruise ship entitled the Carnival Splendor with an EMP missile, resulting in a catastrophic crippling that left 4,500 passengers stranded and its crew dead in the water. Is that... On November 10th, 2010, it was reported that a satellite monitoring the West Coast region of North America detected an EMP anomalous event when a Chinese sub allegedly fired EMP. So this is a story that you're again, no links to back us up here. You're flying literally without any backup links, which, as you know, Noble Watchman, is kind of difficult in an age when everyone wants to vet everything. But as usual, I'm taking it seriously, and I do copy what you're saying in the chat room. And of course, it is something I want to look at in detail. Thank you for reminding me of that. You're great with impersonations. Thank you. He had composting sneakers. Okay, so earlier in the show, in the pre-show, we do an hour before we start our recorded broadcast. I basically went over the top on how to create a bug-out bag. And I showed you guys a little bit about that. And I want to urge everybody to definitely carry food and water, or even a filtered bottle in your car that'll filter water on the fly. It's important that you do that, because if there is an EMP, like the one Noble Watchman is just referring to, and we do lose power to all of our solenoids, including your car is going to be stuck right there in the middle of traffic, in the middle of wherever you are. And it's going to be hard to get home. And you're going to need to survive. Okay. Okay, we got a video referral from someone in our chat room. Thank you. Thanks for sending the link. You know who you are. You obviously wanted to do it without ever being known. Okay. Okay, looks like a kind of a cartoon. Well, I'll have to look at it later, because right now I'm right in the middle of a show. Thank you. Who knows what cannabis sativa is? DT Laura wants to know, yeah. It's a type of marijuana, DT Laura. Yes. And it has been known to make people feel up and happy, not drowsy and tired, like indica. If you were at a typical recreational marijuana supply store in Colorado, Washington, or now Oregon, or Washington, D.C., because they're doing that in Washington, D.C. now, it's considered, they would tell you it's considered something that will help you work and still maintain kind of an altered state of mind. But I would never recommend doing anything like driving or conducting a job where you're required to be, completely alert, like you're a police officer or emergency technician, something like that. McDonald's franchises say the brand is in deep depression and facing its final days? What? Are you serious? This is bizarre. Freedom Friday, we're going to take on some weird issues tonight. Thank you. McDonald's franchisees say the brand is in deep depression and facing its final days. Okay, McDonald's franchisees believe the brand is in deep depression. And why do they repeat themselves? Oh, I know why. Because there are no real writers here. Well, yes, there is. Haley Peterson. I wonder if she's a robot. Business Insider, Haley Peterson. We are in the throes of a deep depression, and nothing is changing. One franchisee wrote in response to the survey by Nomura analyst Mark Kalinowski, probably 30% of the operators are insolvent. Another wrote, the CEO is sowing the seeds of our demise. We are a quick-serve fast food restaurant, not a casual like Five Guys or Chipotle. The system may be facing its final days. More than a dozen franchisees expressed frustration with McDonald's management, saying the CEO Steve Easterbrook's turnaround plan, which includes initiatives like all-day breakfast and a shift to digital ordering kiosks, is a distraction from McDonald's core issues like food quality and customer service. Wow. So a lack of consistent leadership from Oak Brook is frightening. We continue to jump from one failed initiative to another, one franchisee wrote. Well, this is the people who are actually experiencing the pinch of a bad economy, folks. Don't listen to the Democrats and how they paint this nation as in a recovery. Okay. Detour Laura is asking anybody what this means. DRK2 says stop alien abductions. You're in the wrong night, but I'll feature this just for a second. Okay. So this is a helmet that they're wearing to stop alien abductions. This is kind of like a humorous night, isn't it? The thought screen helmet stops space aliens from abducting humans. It's been used successfully by former abductees for 16 years. Inventor Michael Mencken wearing a thought screen helmet and pointing to Velostat protective lining. All rights reserved. It tells you how to make a thought screen helmet. You know, I'm kind of freaked out by this obsession people have about being anally abducted. It's like they're fantasizing about it or something. It's weird. Have you noticed that? Everyone wants to be anally abducted by aliens. I know. They haven't probed me. Did anyone read that Trump is a black flag as a dupe to drop out and back Hillary? Isn't that illegal? Actually, no, it's not, 7317. It's completely legal. He can do it whatever he wants. Trump has supported Hillary, and he's made donations to her. He's basically a hostile takeover of the GOP. If the GOP was smart right now, they'd stick me in the middle of a debate. I would rip into the Trumpster. I would use vernacular that has never been heard by a Republican. Unless, of course, they're, listening to our show every day. U.S. analysts knew Afghan site was a hospital. Wow, this is a big reveal. They're doing an investigation of this terrible killing of 22 people in Afghanistan recently. And the analysts are saying now that the Afghans site was a hospital, and the U.S. analysts knew it. This just in. Let me take a look, see what this is about. American Special Operations analysts were gathering intelligence on an Afghan hospital days before it was destroyed by a U.S. military attack because they believed it was being used by Pakistani operatives to coordinate Taliban activity. Oh, so that's their story now? It's unclear whether commanders who unleashed the AC-130 gunship in the hospital, killing 22 people and hospital staff, were aware the site was a hospital or knew. So it's unclear whether they knew it was a hospital or knew about allegations of possible enemy activity. The Pentagon initially said the attack was to protect U.S. troops. Now this is completely contradictory. I mean, in one sentence, in one paragraph, they're saying they didn't really know it was a hospital, and the other one said that they were looking at this hospital as a place where people were hiding. I mean, wow. Talk about a wild story. AP Newsbreak. In other words, the government doesn't know diddly squat about anything. I can't check that out. You have to be an actual member to post a link here. I can't read guest links, guys. You have to actually that's one of the incentives to become a user. Ad Vaughn. Yeah. Hey, let's not forget another network. I was doing this last night. I thought I'd go back in there and give those guys a little something. I don't know. It sounds to me like they're trying to casually dance around the subject of why they bombed this terrible bombing and killed 22 people. Really sad. And it happened almost the day that the story about Umpqua Community College happened. And that took center stage. That pushed the other story away. I think it was the day before the Umpqua thing. But anyway. We still haven't seen any blood evidence at the Umpqua College shooting. We've not seen any video of the event. Even though everybody had cell phones practically, all their cell phones were taken in and confiscated by the government when they were there. And apparently there's rumors that the DHS and federal marshals were there in advance of the shooting, which has all the earmarks of a false flag. An attempt to trigger our concern for guns and somehow turn gun control on again. Is this some sort of a plan to sell guns? Are some of the companies that sell guns make money on this because people get so fearful their guns are going to be taken away? They buy more? Some people were saying that in the chat room the other night. It's hard to say, you know. Remember when Sandy Hook occurred, the day after, Dianne Feinstein presented a huge document on gun control to every single senator in Congress. The next day, she had it ready to go. It's like somebody had called her from the United Way saying, oh, by the way, there's going to be an event coming up at Sandy Hook, and we better prepare this. Because United Way had solicitations for money in advance of the Sandy Hook event. People still don't even understand that. Oh, yeah, and there's no security cam footage of Umpqua Community College, or of Sandy Hook, I might add, which had an installation put in their procurement list a year and a half earlier. They were also breaking down that school, Sandy Hook, during the time to check for asbestos. They had nobody at the school. There were no kids there. So they're using these false flags apparently to trigger our concern for gun control. And if this is some sort of an attempt by our government to justify it by claiming it's an op, yeah, it's an MK Ultra op, it's a Project Monarch op, it's a Project Artichoke op. I mean, sure, there's a lot of ops involved here. Fusion projects are going on all over the place. What is their intention? To control the minds of the American people and interfere with the free and democratic relay of information, which is clearly going on right here, right now, in our show, and probably not going on anywhere else in the mainstream media? That's truly what's happening. Is Dianne Feinstein receiving some kickback from the gun industry? You got to wonder, because they're never going to pass gun control in this country. They would have to turn our nation into a state of martial law, invoke a UN policy that John Kerry signed 2 years ago, a small arms agreement, and bring the UN into our country to suppress rebellion and then seize arms from everybody who wanted to defend themselves. Good luck with that. It's just not going to happen. I just don't understand why the Democrats keep pushing it. This is not spray on hair. This is my real hair, man. I just, I jump out of the shower, I wash my hair, and I let it air dry, and this is what happens. David, that sounds exactly like what will be happening. Well, gee, you think I just laid out the scenario that they're working on behind the scenes, and while you guys wonder, gee, maybe I should go tell people about a third party? Oh, no, I just rather just watch the show. You have to start spreading the word, folks. And I know you're doing it. I wouldn't see people coming into our show every night, new people all the time. If you weren't doing it, I want to thank you for doing it. But you got to keep it up. I'm not going to do Tim Gunn impersonations in 2015. I did my last Tim Gunn impersonation in 2014. And because I don't really think it's, after years of doing the show, I don't really think it's appropriate that I impersonate Tim. That he's got his own career, He's got things to do. Hey, how are you?
Good.
You had a nice day? It ended up pretty well? Good. Hey, I'm going to go out and feed the fish. Sarah's coming in. She's going to take over. I'll do Tim Gunn on cue for a YouTube video. Thank you. I don't need to shave my head. It's got a full head of hair here, These are all my real hairs. I was born with great hair.
Yep.
This is Sarah, everybody. Welcome.
I was born with great hair, too.
Yeah, we both have great hair.
Okay, you want to go feed the fish?
Yes. That is not a code word for vaping. No. If I wanted a vape, I would vape. This is a vaporizer. See this? This is readily available on the internet. And in states like we live, I see people all the time vaping nicotine or something. Or they seem to be vaping a lot. I see them. I mean, I've seen them in public now. A guy walked out of the USPS today, and he opened up this vaporizer. And it's like, dude, you're getting in a car. How can you vaporize and then drive? I assume it was nicotine. All right, let's go. Let's talk to Sarah. She looks radiant. Give her some good questions about the economy and enjoy her wonderful personality. I'll be back. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, we like talking politics. Politics and all kinds of things. What is that? 137 something? I don't know. Oh, dark. Monsanto is stunned that California is going to label Roundup cancer causing. Really? Really? They're really shocked by that? That's strange. Strange that they'd be shocked by that. Hello, 7275. Actually, I came home earlier, but I decided to take a little time for myself. Yeah. I don't know what you're asking, Stony Rolla. There is something that you asked last week, but it was early. Now you feel the time is right, right? Yeah, I won't tell him that, voodoo person. No, I went and watched a show on Netflix. Okay. Someone needs some coffee, maybe David does. I need some tea. That's a good idea. When David comes back, I think I'll go make myself some tea. With a little bit of honey in it. That would be really good. Well, I'm not that way, Stony Rolla. I don't do any of that stuff. No marijuana for me. All I do is, sometimes I do chocolate. And that's it. I have a little hot chocolate. Yes, we really have a fish pond, and David really goes outside and feeds the fish. And then he takes a little break. But yep, we really have a koi pond. It's pretty cool. Okay. I wouldn't do anything with your... You can watch that all day. Some people believe my hair is like an antenna. That's funny. Yeah, Mr. Rogers fed the fish. He had a little fish tank. I should get a little fish tank. It's true. Oh. As you take a smoke, you say, I can see people in here are totally stoned. He already did, Arcady. I like Mr. Rogers, it's true. You have translucent solar locks? What are you locking up? Or are you talking about your hair? No. 5707, the answer to your question is no. All kinds? Yeah, it's really good. Yeah. I wonder what's going on in the news. Have you guys been following the news? Germany is ready to give Greece financial aid to tackle the refugee crisis. Berlin acknowledges that Greece's economy is too weak to cope with the influx and is willing to give support in return for more robust border controls. I'm a little concerned about the Hadron Collider, but not too concerned. I used to watch Doctor Who because it came before Mr. Rogers. Oh, that's so funny. Have I seen their last promo video for the Hadron Collider? No, I haven't. Bush and Rubio go after each other as their Florida friendship turns into a feud. Biden keeps Democrats waiting on whether he's going to run or not. Very strange videos for CERN. Why are you so interested, 7317? Lamar Odom, I don't know what happened to him. Oh, yeah, I guess I did hear about that. Was he was the guy in the brothel in Vegas or something, or outside of Vegas recently? Yeah, I guess I did hear a little bit about that. Yeah, why would people need CERN Dance of Destruction? Yeah, why would people need to promote the Large Hadron Collider? I don't know. Are they looking for funding, maybe? Maybe that's why they're promoting it. They're looking for more funding for their scientists? Maybe that's why. I don't know. Yes, I know. You see a few gray hairs in my hair right there. Deep. That's okay. It's because I'm getting older. Why are you so interested, 7317? Lamar was gathering... What? He was gathering... Oh, life experience for a new book. That's funny. Oh, I have not been following the Canadian election. What would you like to see happen, 7992? Okay, 63101. I have not used VO5 hair oil treatment. You need one VO5 hair oil treatment a year? That does sound like fun. Maybe I'll try it. Per year? That's pretty amazing. Do you have to heat up the oil? That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, I noticed you picked up some kale. Is that kale?
I did pick up some kale.
Oh, that'd be good baked.
It's organically grown kale.
Great.
I was gonna toss it in some oil and add a little salt and bake it. But then I thought maybe I'll bake it somewhere else.
You can spray it.
Oh yeah, that's what.
With oil.
Yeah.
And season it and then bake it. It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh, that's cool. I'll try that VO5 hair oil treatment. That sounds good. Thanks for the tip, DT. Laura. Yes, Canada has inhabitants. Yes, their election is important to them. And important to the rest of the world, especially like when we're talking about building any pipelines or something. Oh, you had to cut your hair because you had headaches because of the heavy hair? Wow. Well, that's pretty cool, Dirk. Thank you. I wonder if all that extra food in there is just carbos, though. I do wonder about that. Okay.
I want to show you. I bought these two items today at the clearance rack at Walmart.
Uh-huh.
And these are fans that run on USB ports.
Oh, that's cool.
So I'm putting one in your bug out bag, and
Yeah,
you
that's
can actually,
pretty
it could be actually a fan that could cool.
No, I didn't read any article
Somebody.
about kale being bad for me.
Kale's good for you. It's got vitamin K. Probably what we need. I mean, if you were really hot and you put that over some standing water, and it was really hot and you put it over standing water, that fan, it would cool you off like a swamp cooler. It would actually cool you in a hot day. I heard it was 98 degrees in San Diego yesterday.
98 in San Diego?
I heard it was really hot down there. And they're getting
That's
really
hot.
unseasonably hot weather right now in the Southern California area.
Yeah.
The election is rigged. Yeah, we know. But you're going to try to bypass that. And you're going to try to help us out here. Yeah, but if you want to accept your fate as a person who is being told that everything's rigged, then you probably will just become one of the victims. Yeah. We also have a solar-powered light that runs on USB, so at the very least we can get our solar charger, which has a USB output, and a little battery backup for your cell phone. Even though cell phones may not work, a lot of your cell phones will actually, if there's no connection to any internet during an outage, you can actually play a game on your cell phone. Or listen to some music on an MP3 aspect. We haven't really activated your MP3.
Oh, that's true.
Well, the fact is, the Democratic Party is not even asking questions about Barack Obama. And no, they're not red. That's ridiculous, Stoney. The fact is, our country is not even questioning itself. We're acting like a bunch of blobs.
Mudslide in Southern California?
Oh, there's a mudslide? Really?
Yeah, in Southern California, heavy rains unleashed floods that triggered massive mudslides. Cars and trucks, hundreds of them, were stuck deep in mud along highways north of Los Angeles.
Wow. So first the dry out period, and then come the harsh rains rapidly. We never store that water, and then they dry out again. Yeah. It's been raining like crazy, really? Well, at least it's raining. That's a good thing. You're looking at my hair claiming I'm like Pierre Trudeau?
Like your hair.
Okay, I guess, Sarah, thanks for giving me a support. Oh, I have to get my coffee. I'll be right back.
Oh, good.
In
Mudslide
Southern
survivors
California,
tell how
heavy
they
rain
ran for their
unleashed
lives.
floods that triggered massive mudslides. This was the result. Cars and trucks, hundreds of them, were stuck deep in the mud along highways north of Los Angeles. Road crews spent the whole day hauling away the mud and the vehicles just to try to get the roads open again. Carter Evans is in the thick of it. Carter?
Scott, these are just a few of the hundreds of vehicles that drivers had to abandon as a wall of mud came down the hill and overwhelmed this highway. It happened so fast that many of these cars were buried up to their windows in a matter of minutes. The floods came with little warning.
Oh my God! Run for your life!
Torrential rain, 4 inches an hour, triggered massive mudslides, trapping rush hour drivers on busy Interstate 5.
Alguien hable al 911!
Nearly 200 cars and trucks
Look at this.
were overwhelmed.
Oh my
in
God,
less than
this
10
is
minutes.
huge.
I've never seen anything like this. How long is that going to take to clear the mud and all those automobiles out of there?
The only escape for some was through the floodwater. Others climbed on top of their cars.
All the cars are floating beside us.
Further east, trucker Will Nissen captured this video as 20 feet of mud and rocks lifted several semis off the highway, including his partners. Sheriff search and rescue teams are now looking for cars that may have been buried completely. Deputy John Dietrich.
We're trying to probe down and see if we hit anything metallic. We're not sure, but we don't want to leave somebody potentially trapped down there.
Golf ball-sized hail fell in some areas. Melissa Nuska, her son James, and the rest of the family had to run for cover as mud filled their car.
The most terrifying part was when the hill gave out and the road was just gone.
We thought we were going to get buried alive in the mud. We just thought it was done. The mud was coming down so fast, and the car filled up so fast.
It could take days, workers tell me, to remove all the mud, debris, and cars from the roadway here. But, Scott, they are moving fast because more rain is in the forecast today.
Carter Evans reporting for us tonight. Carter, thank you.
Thank you, Carter.
Wow. We've driven on that road.
So this beautiful Earth of ours is having some major problems. And if I could...
As the Weather Service says, we are experiencing...
If I could get him to shut up, that'd be great. Okay. I just think that we really are, in order to take a good assessment of what's happening, you can't just stand there and say, oh, this is global climate change. There's something else happening in the air above us that's not global climate change. It could come under the heading of weather modification. Wow. So I'll talk about that a little later because Sarah and I don't really see eye to eye on this issue, and I'm reporting some pretty interesting stuff later tonight about people in Oregon experiencing a large amount of chemical activity in their atmosphere and affecting the way they feel, how they look. If you're getting symptoms of distended belly, impotence, lack of sexual desire, possibly other symptoms could be fatigue, lethargy. Maybe you're suffering from chemical-induced symptoms. So, you have an extended belly. There you go. So maybe you're suffering. The fact is the American people are right now under a siege. And I'll be discussing the real siege that we're experiencing at a later time because I really don't want to take the time up with Sarah here because she doesn't really think that's happening. No, I don't. I'm not trying to drive you out of the show. I just would rather not talk about it when you're here because you don't believe it's happening.
No, well, I'm going to go lay down.
Oh, good.
I'm
Okay.
under siege.
She's under siege. She's going to rest her extended belly.
Yes, I'm going to rest my extended belly.
There's some salad in there. Well, there's rice in there. If you want to have some rice, there's also some lettuce. You can make a little salad. Something. Somebody said I look like Pierre Trudeau with this new look. I don't know. He continuously attacks our show. I had to ban him for that reason. Yeah, rice and lettuce. Yeah, it's a lot less fattening than big, huge poor boy sandwiches or rich boy sandwiches. Guest chat is not lame. What you're experiencing is the general lackadaisical, lack of interest, apathy. We're in chat central. And I could be Beck saying, it's make-out city time, but instead it's more like it's dumb-down city time. Let's get some music going. Anything to jazz the Friday night up. Are you going out? Are you going to play some pool? Or are you going to grab a beer or something at a local pub? Well, remember that beer is fluoridated as well. Always be aware of that. Yeah, well, at this point, what difference does it make? What difference at this point does it make? Really?
What difference at this point does it make?
All right, let's get a real...
What difference at this point does it make?
We're going to have to fix our economy, everybody. And we can't do it with a lot of BS coming from the two-party system. They're not fixing the problem. They're creating a bigger human dilemma. We're not solving problems. We're making them with the Democrats. They keep spending money left and right. And it's leading to a devastating economy for our nation. We've been lied to. The Democrats have lied to us about everything. Cap and trade doesn't work. Carbon legislation doesn't work. The economy is not improving. And the American people want answers, and we're not getting them. Our media is shut down. It's literally ignoring the American people.
What difference at this point didn't make.
And she's ignoring the question, why did you hide 5 months of emails? And why is Bernie Sanders defending his opponent? He literally went up and defended her on the email issue, knowing full well the Republicans are making a big issue of it. But what does Bernie Sanders have to gain by siding with Hillary on the email issue? We need answers as to why Chris Stevens died and why Hillary Clinton ignored the whole thing and then came up with some trumped up story that just is not true. There were not people protesting a book or a movie called Innocence of the Muslims. Yet people died because of this extravagant story that ran through the press. People in India, 40 people died because of the story that the propaganda mills spilled. Hillary was part of that. Barack Obama was part of that. The story originated at the White House as a cover for what really happened, which was a clear terrorist attack upon our ambassador on 9/11. And a day that he didn't even have an exit plane. It had been taken away and stationed in Iraq, and we now have absolutely no idea what happened. And one witness came forth, and the FBI told 60 Minutes to shut him up. That's right. So there's a complete, across-the-board, concerted cover-up of Benghazi. And then you got Bernie Sanders going, well, I'm tired of hearing about it, too. The Democrats don't ask any questions. That's a given. The Republicans continually attack Democrats. That's a given. There are no centrists other than you're looking at it right now, because the American people don't even have a chance to talk about politics in the media. We're shut out. And that's why I'm vying for your support. No, it's not too complicated for the American people. They want to know why she does not have any emails about one of the most serious times during the Obama administration. Yeah, we need to know. Bernie's not right. The problem is, Bernie, like so many Democrats, don't understand the severity of lying to the American people. And nobody in the Democratic Party understands what it's like to even question their president, because they've been living under the illusion that you can't ask him questions or you're a racist. I mean, we have locked into mind meld here. We have literally become uninspired as a nation. And we are slowly being dumbed down to the point where we're just willing to just accept whatever they tell us on TV. I got news for you guys. She's not going to be the next president, and I'll tell you why. Because the situation with Hillary is completely unfolding. It's unwrapping. Last week, she openly stated that she is a robot to a journalist. She is not even human. She doesn't have any control over what she says, apparently. She's pissing people off within her administration because she's so loose-lipped and pissed off at people around her instead of going after the real culprit, the problems in America, solving the issues. And I got to tell you, man, there are so many big, important issues here. And a lot of you kind of live with this belief that you just have to talk about superficialities and eventually you get tired and go to bed and wake up again and do the same thing over and over again. Well, eventually your world starts to collapse around you. And what we're seeing right now is your world getting more in debt, lack of opportunity. The Democrats haven't fulfilled any opportunities. No, she doesn't have freeloader votes sewed up. Believe me, I can bring freeloader votes, many freeloader votes. Trust me, I can win huge numbers simply by offering solutions that we wrote in our book, Hybrid Capitalism. We can beat the Democrats at their game. But we're not just giving away freebies based on the working man's tax dollars. We're trying to create a mechanism by which the government gets a return on investment. So if you don't look at this big problem and realize this woman has no thoughts in her head, she's literally, like Barack Obama, reading off a teleprompter. Everything she says is right off a teleprompter. Then you really don't understand the problem. And as a Democrat, former Democrat, I actually believe that the Democratic Party has become a party with no meaning, no purpose, and no intention. And certainly no contact with the American people. This guy's been getting drunk in the White House, literally living on his own beer that he's creating with your tax dollars at the White House, ignoring personal contact with the press, waiting for his teleprompter to be queued up before he speaks, and now you got Hillary doing the same thing. Now, I might remind you folks that I am perhaps the only person on the internet that is actually speaking directly to you on a nightly basis. No other politician's doing that. There's no other person out there with the transparency that I offer the presidency, and there's nobody who's got solutions to the global climate change without carbon taxation, without cap and trade, than what I have. I have the best solutions available. We got water to get to California with our ocean pipeline. We've got incredible renewable energy solutions that'll generate electricity across the country. You'll be able to create jobs this way. We'll be able to install solar panels on rooftops. I mean, we've got it. We've got the method to get this country out of the hole. You've got to believe in something and not just do what you're told by the mainstream media. She's definitely deleted emails. She and her family are such crooks, they can't even tell when they're lying. Sadly, she's not going to win. I am the candidate that will challenge both the GOP and the Democrats. I'm the one who will beat Hillary. I'm the one who will beat Donald Trump or Jeb Bush. The fact is, I have the abilities, the mind, and the ideas to save this nation. If you don't understand the importance of your role as a voter and promoting us, and sit here and just mindlessly fill our chat with this nonsense that you're reading off of some PBS program, then you're just going to end up becoming part of the problem, ironically. Well, the world is laughing at us for a lot of other reasons, and the world is frankly scared of us because we behave like tyrants. Our country needs to start changing its policies, and the policies that Hillary and Barack and other leaders, including the Republican Party, are pushing actually are seeding economic hits on countries like Syria and Libya, and engaging a terrible cat and mouse game with a very dangerous sleeping bear called Russia. You don't play cat and mouse games with a Russian bear. And that's what Barack Obama has done, and Hillary will do the same thing. She's already saber-rattled against and done her hawkish military strategy against Russia, and it lands on deaf ears. They don't really believe anything she says, and they know that Barack Obama and Hillary are both part of a cabal. They're simply puppets for the global elitists that are literally turning our country upside down. So anybody who claims that I'm irrelevant is immediately removed from the room. Anybody who claims that this show is a no-go, that nobody should watch it, I ban you. Because you're not a team player. That's the bottom line. You're not a team player, and you're not willing to give your all to support a third party and get us off the ground. Now, I need people who believe in what we're doing, not people who think this is a joke. Now, as much as I've had to do some pretty funny things in our show and show you the kind of people that are out there in the voting population, this is by far the weirdest picture I've ever come across on the internet. Scissor Fight sent this in to us. I have no idea what it is, but it's pretty bizarre. I seriously can't understand what it could be other than blobs. It's a 3D animator's nightmare. But it kind of resembles the American populace right now. Could be a shiny puffy coat, yeah. But he's a nice guy. I'm just a little concerned that we're being led down the primrose pathway to disaster. And if you don't realize that voting for Hillary is actually going to destroy our nation and bury it in a financial chasm that will be only bought out by the Chinese, which she's probably already brokered a deal with, our nation is going to be taken over, assimilated by the UN if this person or any other person in the Republican Party steps up, because the two-party system itself is completely bought off. I don't know. The Canadian election is, aren't they deciding right now? Stephen Harper still looks like he could, win. I'm sure the poll results are still strong. I don't really know anything about Donald Trump, other than the fact that he declared bankruptcy for 4 times, and he used a corporate shield to do it. I'm more interested in talking about this. this beautiful planet that we have here. Yeah. It's being systematically poisoned. Well, you know, if you didn't stop Harper, you know, try to campaign against him, then yeah. You know, I don't mind having a black president. I really don't. I have a problem with having chemtrails sprayed in my skies above me. I have a problem with illegal aliens invading my country. I've been talking about this for 7 years, and now Donald Trump acts like it's his story. I even talked about China before he did.
You go over to China.
Yeah, I'm the one who's actually been making issues about getting our trade imbalance corrected. Neither one of those two candidates, Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton, have talked about chemtrails. But you notice he made such a big deal about illegal aliens that he now has pissed off Mexico. And he's created an enemy of Latino voters for the Republican Party. In Canada, poor is really the richer than the medium status, and of course, rich gets richer. I was shocked, DT Laura, to find out that Canada doesn't have a food stamp program like we have. Excuse me while I adjust my color settings. Somebody said I had ginger hair, and it's not, it's blonde. Many people accuse me of having ginger hair all the time. I just find that ridiculous. They have food banks. So you have food banks. So we'll kind of move toward that for the non-U.S. citizens when I become president. Yeah, I'm not sure, where you're coming from, Brian. I don't know if DT Laura understands it either, but I'm sure you'll get help soon. Call a crisis unit in your area. Yeah, so a lot of you who are Democrat are of the belief that we should open our borders because we need to share the wealth. And I ask you, what wealth? America is no longer the wealthiest nation in the world. We're now second to China. And you can thank the Democrats and Republicans for that, because they were complicit in this. Hello, Beekman. Are they growing weed in their attic? Okay. Well, if America will have something to trade, we will. My plan is to create products in America. I've talked about a U.S. auto corporation creating a car that gets 100 miles per gallon. I've talked about solar panels that are under $1 a watt, made by our government. Not a venture capitalist group like Solyndra, but made by our government. Dave, will you pick our food when you're president? No. No, you can pick your own food. You can pick your own nose if you want. I'm not going to pick your food, and I'm not going to pick your nose. Hang on, I need to... Thank you. Whew. NBC News, El Chapo, another threat. He's on the run. Mexican drug lord has leg and face injuries, according to sources. So they're looking for El Chapo. They're going to try to get him before he gets Donald Trump. The threat went out last week that El Chapo was gunning for him. You know, it's statements like what what Donald Trump said toward Mexicans will inspire a lot of hatred. It causes people to get pissed off.
The importance of the El Chapo prison video with audio now as broadcast by the Mexican TV network Televisa is that it raises new questions for the public about corruption and ineptitude in the prison system. In that video, you can see Chapo in his cell shortly before his escape, and you can also now hear the sounds of hammering several times before he escapes, raising questions why no one else seemed to notice that. Moments later, Chapo gets up, he goes to the shower area and down the hole into the escape tunnel. According to a time counter on the video, it takes 28 minutes before a guard first notices that he's missing, before the guard calls out to his commander. it takes 37 minutes before guards actually come into the cell and go down that hole, which means that Chapo had a long time during his escape before anyone even noticed that he was gone, to his great advantage. And today, of course, he is still a fugitive.
Yeah. And many people are wondering if this Mexican nationalist and drug dealer, drug lord, has a real intent to hurt Donald Trump. My corporate tax rate for the future will be 10%, with no tax deductions or loopholes. This is a flat tax. It won't include any green energy tax credits. We will be canceling all those. This is a flat tax of 10% on any company or individual that makes over $100,000. I'm pro flat tax too. A lot of people are. I started the 10-10 plan one day before Herman Cain came up with the 9-9 plan in the previous election. I mean, I don't know why he beat me by 1 percentage point, but maybe it's kind of like Donald Trump when he wanted to put a 30% tax on China, a 30% tariff, when I've been talking about a 15% tariff, ecological tariff, for the past 8 years. And he wants to just push for a tax of 30%, which would destroy relations with China. But do you think he cares? I think all he cares about is his toupee, or whatever that thing is on his head. I got some fun stuff for our impersonation video. I'm waiting for the actual wig to arrive from Germany. Now my hair is not big enough to do the Donald Trump look. I can't waft it around and do this thing. So I got a backup plan. I have these old minks that were chinchillas back in the 1920s. They were part of a collection I have. And these poor animals, they lived an ethical life, but they ended up being turned into mink chinchillas. So I've got one for me and one for Sarah here to put on our head in case we have to actually wear these. I'm not going to ask her to wear them, but yeah, they kind of smell too. They're from the 1920s, so I had to go into my attic of collections to get this. It's disgusting. Remind me never to do that again. I'm not going to wear it unless I don't get the German wig. If the German wig doesn't arrive, I'm going to have to wear something. Well, no, you can't wash these things; they'd fall apart. Haven't you ever had a fur coat? They get old. David, how do you feel about the government figures having dual citizenship? I'm against it. I would never have had Rahm Emanuel as my chief of staff. That would have been canceled. I'm not going to wear him. It was just a sight gag. Man, you could go pimping in those things. Now, speaking of pimps and prostitutes, Lamar Odom just got out of emergency surgery. Actually, they're trying to revive him. He's said to regain consciousness, but he's in a critical situation. I'm going to have to put Odom in Trump. Yeah. He is speaking, though. Animals have amazing communication. Animals have a way of communicating that people don't even understand, obviously, because we're not animals. But there have been books written about animal communication. One in particular is How Real is Real. It's a question mark. And it talks about the story. This is not news? Oh, okay. Well, Lamar Odom hitting a weekend binge at a Nevada brothel is not news? Charging up $75,000 on his credit card? Would you rather talk about somebody's, varmint? Oh, not again. This is the second time I dropped the camera. This is getting ridiculous. Sorry to, do this, but, I very rarely do that, and here I've done it twice already. I have to adjust all the settings again. I think it's that smell from the 1920s that's affected my mind. Maybe I unleashed botulism. Did you hear that one of the ladies, the Scottish lady who was exposed to Ebola, is now having a resurgence of the disease in her body when they said she was completely clear of it? Did you hear about that? See, it wants to go like that with my hair. It wants to make me look, completely white. Now I look like kind of washed out, I think. It's even funnier, really. What makes it so funny? And why do you care? It looks okay. Okay. Thank you. All right, let's talk about what really matters to most of you. No, you're making new campaign signs. If you haven't gone to my website right now and go to America's Third Party and download this poster, you can make this poster for as low as $1. I think they're pretty cool. In January, I have to make new signs, though, because this picture is 5 years old. I have to put out new ones. Yeah. Anyway, you can go to the site and AmericasThirdParty.com, and if you want a desktop or a tablet, it'll work on either one. And you simply go to our site. We are pro-legalization. We do, there's the poster right there. You click on that poster, and there is the voter revolt. You can print it up, download it, send it to Office Max, and say, hey, print this up on 11x17 color cardstock. And it moved up to $1.88. But you can put this kind of a poster behind your driver's side window, facing this way, so people in the background can see it. They say, oh, look at you. Humans are animals, but we're not supposed to behave like animals. Thank you for being Mr. Exact there, Mr. OCD. Yeah, but we're not supposed to behave like animals, but we're being treated like animals. We're being treated like farm animals. Thank you, Night Fox. I'll toss your vote in the ballot. I left the Democrats because the Democrats don't ask any questions. And I did not endorse or ratify the war in Iraq. And we have bumper stickers too, by the way. Yes, you can, for $4 you can order a bumper sticker on our site. Just scroll down the menu real quick. In fact, you can see our videos from last night. Every night we have a video posted there from the previous night. But you can also, yeah, there's the bumper sticker. Buy a bumper sticker for only $4. There you go. This is an American politics show. Yeah, we're not here to talk about Canadian politics. Okay, there's no cost of living increases, but millions are going to see their cost of living increase. Their Medicare costs are going to soar. Now, we all talked about this problem with Obamacare. Another reason why I left the Democratic Party, because I don't support corporate health insurance. I would have rather have seen a public option. And we have a public option for those of you who are Democrats who want to get behind that. But this story just brought in, the Social Security Administration told nearly 65 million retirees on Monday they will not be getting a raise next year because inflation is too low.
The increase in out-of-pocket Medicare costs would affect doctor visits, surgery, medical tests, and supplies such as walkers or wheelchairs. Currently, the monthly premium is $104. It could rise to $159. 8 million could face these higher costs. About 1 million are federal retirees. Jessica Clement of the National Active and Retired Federal Employees Association.
$55 a month makes a big difference to individuals living on a fixed income.
Here's the problem. Healthcare costs are rising fast. By law, 70% of people on Medicare are protected from higher premiums if they don't get a Social Security cost of living raise.
Okay, let's stop there. Right. healthcare costs are rising fast. Now that's where we have to stop our program and analyze what he just said. Okay? Why are healthcare how come healthcare is rising so fast? No, I'm done with the Democratic Party. If they wanted to, get me to get into a conference and actually compete with Bernie Sanders in an open debate, I certainly would never turn them down. Same with the Republicans. If they wanted to get me into the debates, that'd be great. Okay. You like the handout reaching out? Yeah. I designed the sign. That was me. I did that. I did it in my campaign where they stole 90% of my signs, actually violating the law, stopping my campaign from getting any progress because, when I ran for a local office, I never expected, this type of corruption in the Democratic Party. And I'm glad I did run in 2014 because I really pulled it out of them. They were so corrupt, it was unbelievable. They tried to use the foreign press to label me some sort of a racist, and I've never said a racial slur in my life. I would have gladly run as a Democrat the whole time if they just wanted to give me a chance to speak out, but they literally told me to shut up. This tie stands for America. You're out of here. This is Freedom Friday, you idiot. But what really matters to most people is this. And you haven't gotten one penny from our government. None of you have. Unless, of course, you were hooked up to the gravy train of unemployment insurance. Some of those people got like $40,000 when 99 weeks of unemployment insurance were doled out unnecessarily to all these people. You know that Barack Obama doled out 99 weeks of unemployment insurance the year that the two people that received the Nobel Prize in Economics did it, declaring that people on unemployment insurance don't look for work. That's how stupid the Democrats are. They wasted nearly $700 billion on money to unemployment insurance. But we, the American people, have not gotten any money at all. We have seen our nation become poorer and poorer, and we've seen our people become less savings in their bank because of the rate of inflation, how it increases. Whenever they print up money, it increases. So we put the hands of our future of our country in the hands of a group of private bankers called the Federal Reserve. They're not even a government operation. They don't even answer to the government, except with just the government operations here in the U.S. None of the funding or investments, foreign investments that the Federal Reserve engages in is overseen by anybody in government. Freedom Friday. What do you mean you cannot slate the tie? Yeah, don't hate the tie. The tie is everything here. We're trying to help this country become free again. Now, we've lost our freedom, folks. Don't let them tell you we're free. We're having a SWAT team in every city in America now because of Barack Obama. And we're seeing our nation literally destroying the environment that our children, your children, are actually living in. We're seeing our country become weakened with unnecessary illegal immigration coming into our shores. This is not a free country anymore. And everything costs money. Notice that? It's rare when you find things that are free. I fed the fish. Anyway.
Yeah.
I do like to, get a little food in my stomach, though.
Go ahead.
Well, let me bring in my dancing replacement for, the show. This will keep people busy.
Not.
Oh, sorry. Oh. Okay. Sorry, I clicked both of them.
Is that so when you sit in the middle, you can have these two undulating women by your head?
Yeah, that's my entourage.
Fine.
Beautiful
fun.
women. Fun. All right, I'm going to get some food. I'm having a carbo come down. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Okay, Beekman. You got me. Oh well. That's who I am, I guess. Shake it off. That's it. Good. Well, he did try to look like me. That's why he went and became a woman. Because he's like, wow, that lady's beautiful. I want to be like her. So Bruce became Caitlyn. I have lots of energy. Big Ben, how are you today? It's such a lovely day. Did you have a fantastic week? I had the most fantastic week ever. It was amazing. So much fun. I took my hair down because I think it's going to cool down. Would you prefer if I put my hair up? Oh my God. Wow. You don't like that Shake It Off song? Reptoid? Not. Cult Live. Totally fake. I know, right? You don't want totally fake either. You want someone who's serious, yet excited and passionate about this country, the future direction that we're going in. Everyone, I want you to pursue your dreams, whatever they may be. What is your dream? Please share it with me. I want to know your passion. Oh, I'll try DT Laura, but it's very rare that David checks out his Facebook. There we go. How about that? Better hair? Okay. I didn't go to anywhere on my break. I went and watched a show on Netflix. That's about it. Well, David and I do check the email every once in a while. And I do check my Facebook, facebook.com/thirdparty every once in a while. But, yeah, I mean, I can remind him to check Facebook. I suppose I could check the Facebook for him. What are you talking about? 4968. An internet research group flunked math. Let's look at that. Networkworld.com. Pew Research. Yeah. Jericho is a pretty cool show. Big Perm. On my mind today is always about how to make the country great. That's funny. So they do great work at Pew Research Center, but someone on their social media team could stand a refresher course in basic math. See this tweet today. 77% of adults aged 30 to 49 use social media, compared with 8% in 2005. A 69% increase. Oh. Yeah. Don't add or subtract percentages. No, not really. Beekman, do you? Support random direct testing for teachers? No. I think teachers have plenty of hoops to jump through. And 1247, do you support random direct testing in all jobs? Yeah, that's not going to happen. 1128. I just don't think that. I think there's so much that It's just one more thing. No. I think that there's so much on a teacher's plate. It's just one more thing for them to have to do. So Bill Gates, you say, has a program for the youngsters to learn code as old code readers are dying off, and the new code readers say they'll be rock stars in the future. Yeah, they think that. Well, I mean, I do like, there's a couple of cool sites to learn coding. Code.org/learn. Tinker is a site to learn coding. Lightbot is a pretty cool site because even a kindergartner can code with Lightbot. Also, Khan Academy offers a coding course. There's also, you can get Lego Mindstorm to program an actual robot with the cost of a $300 Lego EV3. So those are pretty cool. There's scratch.mit.edu. Those, you can learn programming from there as well. That's pretty cool. That can integrate with making your own video games. So those are pretty good. Lots of little things. Bees are addicted to caffeine. That's pretty interesting, Scissor Fights. David was doing some news videos back in the day. No, I don't have the munchies right now. Just a desire to sleep. That's about it. But then I go and watch a show, and so then I don't sleep. No, we haven't actually watched Jacob's Ladder yet. Yeah, Khan Academy is pretty good. Yeah, that was pretty cool, Scissor Fight. I know, if you all stay quiet, it probably would fall asleep on you. Yes, I have been watching The Walking Dead. I like The Walking Dead. I never thought I would say that when it first came out. I was like, no. But I think they have really good character development in that show. I know I'll go and take off my makeup before I go to sleep. Yeah, it's just like, it's pretty amazing. Oh, someone is saying something? DT Laura, I don't know who's saying things, otherwise I would. What kind of comedy movies do I like on Netflix? I'm not a big, huge comedy fan. I mean, romantic comedies are okay, but, yeah. I like, there's there's a show I'm watching right now called Heart of Dixie. That's it. Okay, I will go check it out right now. How about that, DT Laura? Yeah, I did like The Notebook. That was pretty cool. Oh. Okay, well, either way, don't know if I'll how do I see this? My news feed, I suppose? Or a message. Here's a message. I don't know if it's gonna come through. There we go. What kind of phone should you buy? Well, I had a phone that was just like a cell phone that was just a phone, but didn't have texting or anything, and then I got a smartphone, but that's it. Well, I don't know why he wouldn't discuss that. DT Laura, did he say that? Oh. I feel like I'm unqualified to talk about it. But maybe I'll do some research and figure out what I like. DT Laura, how about that? As far as Canadian politics. Okay. Oh, good job, Ed. No, it wasn't about what kind of phone to buy. Yeah, I think I have to do more research. But maybe there's actually the group I would look into if I were in Canada is the Libertarian Party up in Canada. They seem like they're closest to being up the alley of what I believe in. So I don't know if they have any major candidates out, but it's the Canadian Libertarian Party is who you should look into supporting up there. I would like to go skydiving if given the chance. I don't think David would, and he would probably not want me to do so. No comment, Speakman. Maybe I would like Google's new line of GoPros. Yeah, the Canadian Libertarian Party, that's who I would look into. David has plenty to say about that, Beekman.
What do you want to talk about?
Beekman wants to talk about what's your opinion about the Planned Parenthood videos.
Oh, they're shocking. I support a first trimester plan for women to have abortions only in the first trimester, keeping the babies no bigger than this big that are aborted, minimizing the pain and suffering induced by the abortion itself. A baby this big, a fetus, is not able to feel pain. The pain centers of the cerebrum have not been formed, so it's a step in the right direction. Plus, I think every woman should sign off on any kind of abortion fully, with total knowledge of both sides of the event. Tony's calling again. Okay, Tony, hi, we're talking about abortion. What's up?
Yeah, I know, I heard. I just came back. I didn't log out, but I was still watching. Did you know that Planned Parenthood does? Hey, Sarah, I just want to say hi, too. Hi. You know they sell baby organs and stuff, that Planned Parenthood, whatever it is? Did you hear about that?
I heard about it, and to me it's shocking, and I would like to see some alterations in their policies, and I don't think we should fund abortions directly. The federal government should not put money into that. You know, I'd like to see a different approach.
They made, like big business out of it. I think that's crazy.
You know, Planned Parenthood could offer a kiosk at the front door entrance of their location, and the kiosk would have kits in it for STDs, STIs. You take the kit home and you send it in the mail to someplace, and they do it. So Planned Parenthood could be taken out of the loop on STD testing, and then brought in only on offering, necessary abortions, not paid for by the federal government, and prophylactics. I think condoms are really beneficial in preventing pregnancy, unwanted pregnancy. So it's really about prevention. I think that's the central issue. So we don't want little baby fetuses. We don't want a baby fetus mill to be produced and then Planned Parenthood to be taking a profit from this. It's really scummy. Yeah. There are no drug crimes, buddy. You're making all that up.
Yeah. Hey, I got a bad connection, Dave. Could I call you back? I just wanted to throw that out there.
All right. Thanks a lot, man. Yeah, appreciate it. Take care. Bye.
All right. Take it easy, Dave. Take it easy.
Take it easy. Bye. David, when I got to ask you, when you do the show, anytime you see people chatting that are really destructive to our show, you have to ban them. It's just a rule that I do. So, things that are unnecessary to the show, I ban them and purge them, just so that they know we have parameters here, that I don't need people calling in and making allegations that are not true. Especially somebody who claims I was involved in cocaine. It's insane. I've never done that. I would never do that. It's absurd. They're coming from left field, making weird accusations to try to discredit me. And you can't discredit me. I'm a good person. I've done nothing wrong in my life. I've actually abided by all the rules, the laws, and have gone out of my way to be a good, honest American. And here I am running for president, and nobody gives me any chance to get any type of coverage in the media, which is pathetic. It shows us that, frankly, I don't think the world is really that important to our government right now. I really believe that the quality of the environment is unimportant to the government. I think that we probably have a lot more issues that need to be addressed, and the American people need to waken up to what's happening. So let me pull the world down from the show. We need kind of an awakening, kind of a, like, whoa, this is really happening. Yeah, we need that aha moment right now. And if you don't have that aha moment, there's a lot of reasons why you're not getting it. But we would like for you to understand how important it is for you to wake people up around you and spread the word on the internet, posting AmericasThirdParty.com in any of your forums or blogs or anywhere on the internet you can. That would really help. Because right now we don't have any other representation. The American people don't have a representative in Clinton. They don't have a representative in Trump or Jeb Bush. So anything we can do to promote a third party would really help. And this is why I started a third party, because we really need a lobbying group in our government. We don't have it right now. It does not exist. I guess it's in the other folder. So overall, did you have enough food today? Are you satisfied? Do you need some dinner, or you want me to do anything for?
Yeah, we'll make a salad.
Well,
Just
maybe
not
later. I'm good. Yeah, I'm just looking for the lower banner, and I haven't found it yet.
Which one?
Yeah, it's the one. It's the one that has just the bottom on it.
Oh.
Yes, it should have been there. I don't know why it's not there. It's just, oh, there it is. It was hiding. Got it. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so this came in. Scissor Fight brought this in last week. This amazing rolling GIF, and it's like the world is crying and dark clouds hovering over the earth, and it resembles to me where we're at right now. Salad does sound good, yeah. Honestly, Dave, you had never snorted a line back in the VW days in a social when some cute chippy chick was into you and wanted to party? No, man. Like I said, I don't do cocaine. It's one of the reasons why I left Hollywood. It was forced upon me. It was actually presented right to my face, and everyone around me knew that I didn't like the idea of doing it. And it cost me a job, a career. It cost me a lot. It's one of the reasons, the dividing lines in my life, where I said, I just can't participate with coke addicts. I really can't. And then I put my resume out to people that I thought would be legitimate, like Sundance, I thought that of all the people in my mind, Robert Redford would want to hire somebody, right? He couldn't possibly be into that. And I got no response from about 20 different agencies. I was like blacklisted. It was weird. Could have been just the time of the year or two. Yeah, I used to, work in Hollywood. It was one of my areas that I spent time in the 1980s. Sarah and I both have spent time in the LA area. We both had about a 10-year stint. I was 35 years in Los Angeles.
I did not see that video.
Oh, I'm telling you, it's absolutely horrible. It's horrendous, Beekman. I'm extremely upset about what's happening with the Planned Parenthood story. And the Republicans act like it's no big deal, too. I mean, they're like kind of minimizing it, whereas Ted Cruz is making a big issue about the Planned Parenthood thing. And people are kind of like, why do you even care, man? They're dead, I think it's huge. I think it's really disturbing that people are ignoring that. If somebody were to come into a Planned Parenthood and want to do a third trimester abortion, Planned Parenthood would probably be okay with it because they'd see those as, mature body parts that would have a higher value on the world market for livers. I mean, it's really disturbing to think that that's what's going on. But we need to get some sort of accountability. Our social conservatives need to understand, I back what you want to do. But being I'm pro-choice, it's difficult. So I've crafted this concept of a first trimester abortion law that would possibly work. The human condition is just getting worse and worse. And if we look at the endless loop of population, how big it is. In America, we actually have a zero population problem. But we're led to believe that we have the burden of the whole world on our shoulders, and we don't. We really don't. We can come back to our shores, protect our borders, bring our troops home, and do what is needed to do, which is to help build this economy. So we came up with hybrid capitalism, a concept that could actually generate a tremendous amount of jobs and equity and deal with back to the basics. Oh, I just realized I don't have a fader on there. I better do a fader for the end of the show. Well, Sarah, if you would like, thank you for giving me a break. I know you've worked a long day. If you want to just take, a little time off, that'd be cool. Thanks. You got a movie going on in there? It's pretty cool.
Not just a show.
Yeah. She's just very tired. Sarah works the whole week, and Friday's a long day, so thank you for coming in. Appreciate it. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the future and how hybrid capitalism can actually help build our economy, as opposed to what the Democrats, Republicans are doing, which is nothing, right? I know. Well, I would never want an abortion, personally. But I can tell you, yeah, it does. And if the American people really, want to recognize women's right to choose and also try to do the right thing, we shouldn't have an overtaking authority in government telling us what to do with our own bodies. But there are people that believe abortion is murder, and technically it is. You're murdering a baby fetus. So I don't really want to take away the women's right to choose, though, because it's already been established by our Supreme Court that that's going to stay. Roe v. Wade is still staying. What's your honest and fair question? Is it fair to ask why Sarah has no opinion? Oh, no. She just doesn't really pipe up about it. It's not important to her in a big way. It is to me. Sarah is more pro-choice, I think, than I am. I don't know. We kind of, she and I are a little bit more, sometimes I'm more to the left than she is, sometimes she's more to the left. That's how it is with us. No, I don't hate women, and I can tell you abortion is murder. Anybody who recognizes you're killing a baby is obviously recognizing they're murdering their baby. Yeah, I don't see how you could say that abortion is not murder. I don't see how you can justify that. I love the fact that women have their own choice, but if they're going to choose to be a murderer, then they should, recognize that they are a murderer. They murdered the baby. She would not condemn them. Oh, I would. I don't know I can't speak for her, but at this point she's very tired, and I don't think hitting her up with a social question that's of that importance is something she really needs to address on a Friday night. Me, on the other hand, I'm ready for an argument at all times. No, it's not hot here. We actually are feeling kind of cool. We're not in Southern California. I'm up in Washington, and it's like 50 degrees outside. But I have to be bigger than the chair, because the chair looks like my fake shoulders. It's kind of an unfortunate chair because it creates like 3 shoulders, like I have a humpback or something. I'm a riot? Really? I don't want a riot. I want to peacefully assemble in our show every night. Paul McCartney concert tomorrow. Oh, really? Where is he going to be performing? Katerina says a man cannot speak for the baby in a woman's body. That's right, you know. And you know, it doesn't really matter. I'm not calling women out as murderers, but I believe it is murder. But hey, I'm still supporting choice, you understand? And I recognize that a woman making that fateful choice should actually be exposed to a certain amount of information on both sides. So I would envision the future Planned Parenthood not defunded by the government, completely defunded by the government. The abortion clinic would be you pay for it yourself. Somehow, somebody pays for it. And in every abortion clinic, because now the Supreme Court ruled anybody who wants to gather near an abortion clinic can do it right there. Protest right now next to the abortion clinic. They've overturned the original statement that you had to be 30 feet away. So what I'm thinking now is we have a room in every Planned Parenthood where a pro-choice volunteer booth is set up and a pro-life volunteer booth is set up. And a woman would go in there and she'd have to spend at least 10 minutes with either booth unless there was nobody there. Then she'd just look at the wall and sign off, and it would be signed off. If nobody was touching the booth, oh, is there something wrong with my hair? Sorry, I didn't know there was. My hair is somehow an issue. Yeah, you get that and you agree. Cool. So don't get hung up on words, okay? We can all get lost in this incredible semantics, calling people murderers. Oh, that's terrible. DT Laura made a very good point. This is her position. She says people need to take responsibility if they want to get it on, use protection. Only reason is laziness or ignorance. Only consideration is incest or rape, not for the lady, but for the child. What would you say? Oh, daddy's grandpa and your dad was a rapist? I mean, what would you do? I mean, so she sees that as possibly the only time a person should have an abortion. The child might have the DNA of a killer if raped, being brutally honest. Thank you, DT Laura. That was very well put. No, personally, I don't support murder. But I can tell you that I support the right of a woman to choose to be a murderer. Yeah, it's called free will. You need to look at the origin of what we are here for. You know, nobody's thrown a shoe at me at all, ace to ace. And if somebody wants to throw a shoe at me, that's fine. I can handle it. Are you too old? Why jacket? Are you saying, am I cold? Or are you too old? No, I'm not too old. I'm 55. I can definitely run for president all the way till I'm 110. Then I'm going to take a retirement in which I'm going to spend most of my time in an isolation chamber listening to really cool music. Hi, Ms. Atsumi. Stop. What do you mean? Of course not. Charles Manson needs to fry for being complicit in the murder of 5 individuals. And he himself has admitted to a psychologist recently, in the past 2 years, that he was solely responsible for the death of 5 people. Okay? So he should have been fried back when California decided to remove the death penalty. It's doing great. Thanks for asking. Why don't I let my prostate talk for me? Let's see.
No.
See, there you go. It's my listening device. I hold it next to my body in certain areas and it responds.
No, no. No.
It's like torture.
No. No. I said no.
Really? You had your prostate removed? Old wrinkle? Thank you. I'm glad you feel I'm great. My chair thanks you too. Maybe I should spray paint this red behind me so it'll look, more Republican. Some people will see me as like a potential Republican. I'm not. I've never voted Republican. Well, that's not true. The last election, I will not vote for Patty Murray. And I absolutely didn't want to vote for Republican, but I did vote for Dino Rossi. And that one time, because I can't stand Patty Murray. She hates me for some reason, but I don't like her because she keeps siding with the weapons industry, Boeing, the death of the planet, endless abuse of planes flying all around for no reason, starting wars with Russia. I mean, you name it. That's what she supports. The Democrats support war with Russia. And apparently they support war in Syria. And they definitely endorse the war in Libya. The Democrats really are about war. Now, to phrase this a better way, they're the hawkish warmongers. They're the warmongers. And ironically, the Republicans are too. Republicans are warmongers. And they seriously want more war. And we've seen people on the right, like Karl Rove, and Dick Cheney, and George W. People die fighting for democracy. Laurie and I never did that. Now he spends his time doing paint by numbers and pretends like he has talent. White chocolate, you're about to be removed from the room just simply being white chocolate. I find that very derogatory. Yeah. Bunch of Dr. Strangelove. Hold on, please. Okay, yeah, I'll get back to you. Thank you for calling. Bye-bye. Yeah, I'm going to have to go incognito here. It's the new me. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm going to pretend as though this is the beginning of the after show. How's everyone doing tonight? Don't feel intimidated like I'm some sort of a federal officer or anything. I'm not. I'm just a guy running for president. That is irrelevant. I will not respond to your question. If you have any questions at all, I am ready for rapid fire responses. Without a teleprompter, without a speechwriter, feel free to ask any question under the sun and I'll respond as fast as I can. No, actually, people know who I am. I'm rather a legend, 406. Not just in my own mind, but also in reality. In reality, Mr. Sponheim is, how do you say, a living legend. It's simply because he can that he does. I basically, I'm notorious, I'm sorry to say, but people know who I am. And it's because of my technique, it's because I'm a specialist, and it's because I've used a type of media marketing that defies censorship. It goes beyond censorship. It cuts through the ice of propaganda that's being chiseled for all of you to watch the talking points that are put in front of you. Would you retire the Matrix impression for 2015? And I'm not retiring anything. I'm even bring Tim Gunn back. I just haven't done it yet for 2015. You are looking into my mirrored sunglasses, Mr. Anderson. And that's why it's like a zoo. Life is like a prison. It's reality, whatever you want to call it. It's the stench, Mr. Anderson. The stench of people that don't know what to do. How to save their nation. And here I am, sitting right here every day, going, hey, everybody, my name's David Sponheim. Welcome to the show. And you just continually don't realize that I'm here to help. So give me a question. Try to dig deep in your cerebrum. I know it's heavily fluoridated. Come up with an idea that might actually be a discussion or an issue tonight. Let's do that. I'm so addicting. Ooh. Hey, let's get some music going. Who wants to think? It's Friday night. Screw thinking. Let's just have fun. Isn't that what it's all about? Really? I mean, you're here a short time in life and you become a credit junkie, and then pretty soon a wage slave, and pretty soon you're not having any fun. Pretty soon you're hooked up to the chain gang. Working on that daily job. Subtracting your time, your freedom, your life. You're the loser. Your boss is not the winner. He doesn't give a crap about you. I did this while on acid by Sony. Great program, audio editing, Sony's acid program. Let's sing Kumbaya, everybody. Let's wide open eyes, wide open mind. They are poisoning our planet. And we need to waken up, kind of like this cat did. And make it happen. Because it's not happening otherwise. So a little shock value doesn't hurt at times to kind of break the ice here, but we do need a restoration of our nation. And a better president is the way to go. Yes, we need cybersecurity, but we don't necessarily need the Matrix. It's unnecessary, and I would love to leave here. As soon as the problem with Zion is over, I can move on to my next task, Mr. Anderson. It's clearly your choice, not mine. So once we clear the way to solving the problem with Zion, we will realize that the future is here in America, not in Zion. That we will be back in business as a nation once we push these foreign overlords out of our world. And that's kind of what the Matrix was all about. It's pretty much an allegory. And I'm sure there's a reason why I talk about this a lot. There's got to be a reason why the Matrix actually presented Neo being born September 11th, 2001 on his passport. Mr. Smith. Let's see if I can pull that up. I cannot unban all. You know that it's gone too far. I can't do that. You know that. Let's get a dancer in here. I have a trained dancer who will dance to the song. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Let's crank it. Oh, we have another dancer? Okay, bring him in. The useless president named Barack Obama, who hasn't done anything in 7 years. And the Democrats want to vote him in again with Hillary? What a joke. Oh, now it's Hillary's turn. Oh, yeah, like we can have that. Like we can handle another open door policy of illegal immigrants into our country. Oh, that's going to be good. Yeah, let's bring that on. Sure, why not? Oh, let's just double it. What do you say? And double the ante. Oh, and then your alternative, of course, is, you know, the guy with a toupee who wants to deport everybody he can find out of the country. Oh, but he's got all the answers, like hating on China.
Let's say China.
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 China. China. You go over to China. 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 You take China.
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 So it's either illegal immigration or some dictator in the minds of the voters of this country. I mean, this is not a good choice, folks. We're getting screwed. This is disturbing. Thank you for coming into America's Third Party and Freedom Friday, where we're free to talk about whatever you are in now in the after show. This person comes in and says they work for the CIA. That's hilarious. It's a psycho living in an apartment, and we know exactly who he is. He's this nutcase who's been attacking and stalking our room and cyber-stalking me for the past 3 years. And we're passing all this information on to the FBI if you continue to threaten me, sir. What if chemtrails is actually being done to replenish the atmosphere, to which the industrial ages took beyond the point of saving the planet, and the government is afraid to tell us that without chemtrails the atmosphere would collapse and fail? B-Master. They'd like us to believe that, but it's just not true. The actual sprays that are in the air right now are actually barium, lithium. A new one is lithium. You didn't know lithium was being induced? It turns people into basic walking zombies. All right? You didn't know that. All right. I'm done with the music, but yeah. So I'm going to just tell you that if you don't want to discuss chemtrails and you believe that it's some whack job theory, we don't really care. And I know a lot of you are so tired of having these people. So these are contrails. They would never do that in the air. Oh, they're contrails. Golly. Chemtrails are reducing testosterone levels by at least a half. White chocolate. And I'm serious. And these chemtrails have actually the lithium that they're putting in down in Oregon, and this has been tested now, and people are coming out talking about it. People are breaking silence. The guys that are doing this, the chemtrail pilots, are finally touching down on websites that are all about it, like geoengineeringwatch.org. And they're finally telling people, hey, you know, they really are doing this. You see, folks, many years ago, the government that you think you have became another government. It's kind of a government within a government. Best way to describe it. And they don't really care what they do as long as they're fulfilling whoever's telling them what to do, wants them to do that mission. And that mission is to depopulate the earth. You got a good dancer? Cool, let's check it out. They want to depopulate the earth. Oh, that's cool. I like that. You're good. Do. So we have an actual bending, morphing guy from the Matrix here to bring into the show. Fun. Very fun. Very fun. Okay, here we go. This is the guy that bends with bullets. Very cool. Ooh. Nice. Anyway, getting back to what I was saying. In the Matrix, we as a nation are at the point, a brink point, where if we don't get control of our country and the technocracy that we've seen evolve around us, and we don't get control of our nation's borders and what we really stand for, these global elitists will work through this shadow organization, if you will. And you can name them Council on Foreign Relations, Trilateral Commission. They all work as private organizations to control America's policies. If you don't understand that that's the biggest problem facing our country's future, then you wouldn't even understand the need for a third party. Because clearly a third party is the only way to find arbitration on issues of both the left and the right. And I should say the left and the right, because you're opposite to me. And finding the solutions long term will be a matter of continually changing policy to adapt to the changing times. So you can't come to this subject as a neocon who believes that any mention of the word democracy is communism. And you can't come to the whole story from the communist perspective where, gosh, it's the collective will. Everybody should just go along and goose step our way to a Politburo taking over all of our rights either. So we're right in the middle on a lot of this stuff, but our president and our Congress has not done anything to articulate a pathway for us to break through and do what we have to do. Now, I have people in our show, this guy who comes in under different chat names, and because we've opened the chat to guest chat, he comes in and he slips his crap into his mouth and parks it in our chat room. And I sometimes have to ban this guy. No, there's no new hair look. I just decided to, let it out. And I've got great hair. Thank you. And I'm not here to talk about my hair, but you are, obviously. Yeah, the guy's bragging about being the CIA. This is the same guy that thinks he's a multi-billionaire living in Philadelphia. We've been tracking for years. He is delusional, and he is coming in the room, attacking me nightly. I'm just an average American running for president. No, this is real hair, white chocolate. You can pull on it. It's not no piece, man. I am waiting for my wig to arrive, though. I'm ordering a wig to do the Donald Trump impersonation. And it should be fun. Hey, if you feel like you're this blob sitting at home, feeling like nothing is going your way, well, you're not alone. There's a lot of blobs in the world. And there's people that are just useless eaters that don't even have a clue as to what's going on. Do you see yourself as either one of these characters? And if so, don't worry. I've got a plan for you. Life is not over yet. Since 1980, male erectile dysfunction has dropped from age 70 to now men 45 years of age having 40% impotence. Wow, talk about killing the population. Good point. Thank you, B-Master. And that has a lot to do with people on big pharma medication. A lot of those things interact to create a lack of libido. An absurd dance mix with pogo. Oh, how can I miss that?
Watch this. Hallelujah. Get up, right down.
That's fantastic. Wow, I don't think I've ever seen anything as fabulous as that. You get such great stuff, Scissor Fight. It's too bad I'm mind melding with the person in the show, though. Hey, everybody, it's me. I'm the guest host, and I'm here to talk about the show. Sorry. That was fun. Yeah, you really got me on a sidetrack there. That's a fabulous dance piece. Let's get back to what we were talking about with the people in your neighborhood and people like these people, like people that look just like this. So we don't have to make a big deal about it. And if you are kind of bored, don't worry. We've got dancing women that can keep you active during the show. So some of you are kind of getting a little bit, kind of listless, tired. That's because you're being drugged with chemicals flown in the air above you. Now, we just heard this great link from Oregon, and I have it here. Let's see if I can pull it up. Well, let's be clear. Refreshing page. David, I was trained in profiling what? You're not trained in anything, man. You are a psychotic who seriously needs to be arrested. There's a libel suit going on against you. It just hasn't arrived at your front door yet. Now, here's something Ace to Ace said. The CIA owns everyone of any significance in the major media. Former CIA Director William Colby said this before he was killed. I'm sorry, before he died. Thank you very much, Ace Days. That's so true. Many people wonder if William Colby was killed, though, right after saying these kinds of things. What he wanted to do was to create an openness, a dialogue that never, ever actually got said. The CIA went in a different direction right after William Colby made those comments. Ironically. Dude, you're going to be seriously arrested someday. And you'll wonder what happened, because you've got a website slandering me and Sarah, libeling us, and you're coming into our room on a nightly basis as a stalker, and you're violating the Washington State stalking law, actually, which is a 5-year prison sentence. If you're extradited to the state, you could serve 5 years for doing this. Yeah, I'm not scared at all. I just want you to know that anybody coming in pretending to be a CIA agent, misrepresenting themselves, I mean, you're probably violating, I'm going to say, the Stolen Valor Act, but the Stolen Valor Act is actually no longer valid. I don't talk about other people in our show, and I would rather if you didn't either. Thank you. Yeah. David, do you watch Dr. Phil? No, I don't. You like my hair? That's great. Thank you. Exactly. This is not everyone. There's one person with multiple accounts. And see, he still thinks he's so delusional, he still thinks he's a CIA agent. David, what's the time clock on nuclear wipeout? It's moved up to 3 minutes to the top of the hour. And by the way, tomorrow is I'm not a porn star, no. Tomorrow is our anti-war rally. And I want to remind you that we have kept war from happening for over a year and a half now. When the powers that be, the two parties, started pushing for war in Syria, we actually started our anti-war rally. And I want to thank myself, because I think I am single-handedly, along with Sarah, raising the bar of awareness in America, much like the hippie movement stopped the Vietnam War. Tomorrow is I'm Not a Porn Star. That's the name of tomorrow. Oh, that's a good one. Thanks, Scissor Fight. Yeah, that's cool. Matrix 2. Very cool. You can read those numbers. Yeah, tomorrow is I'm Not a Porn Star. Now, a lot of you who have wondered whether I'm a porn star or not, I have actually produced a video. And I would like to play that video for you, because many of you look and act like the people or the creatures next to me right now. So buckle down for some good entertainment, folks. Join Madonna here. That's just a gif of her, but you know what I mean. And I'm going to play you a little old-fashioned movie that I made back in 2012. Actually, I made it back in 2009, I think. And I re-edited it for 2012. Anyway, it's I'm Not a Porn Star by David Sponheim. I think it's worth looking at. It's one of my rare appearances with 7 different presidents, all done on the fly, mind you, in 2.5 minutes. There were no edit cuts other than laying, some photographs over my face. You'll enjoy it. It's fun. All right, enjoy. And this is Friday night. Remember, your work week is over and you can start relaxing. You're no longer indebted to your wage slave earner mentality. You can start enjoying yourself because you've earned it. Okay? Thank you. All right, I'll be right back.
Hi, I'm David John Sponheim, and I want to be your president. People are asking me every day on our blog TV show, are you like a porn star or something? And I'm going to tell you, man, I am not a porn star. What happens when a president has to answer the ultimate question, are you a porn star? And the answer is, like, from Nixon's point of view, is, I want to make this perfectly clear. I am not a porno star. Or maybe if you were Jimmy Carter would have said, oh, I think that Rosalind and I are not engaged in any behavior like that. I did lust after a Playboy magazine, though. Or maybe Ronald Reagan, the guy who pushed Jimmy Carter aside and showed us what true presidents are like. Ronald Reagan. Well, I'm sure Nancy and I wouldn't have approved of that, but it would have been awfully fun. Or, Mr. Gorbachev, take down your pants. Or could it be like George H.W. Bush? 1,000 women I didn't do. Or America is a new world odor. Or Bill Clinton, I never had sexual relations on camera. But or something maybe even more contemporary, like George W. Bush, you know? People die fighting for a porno. Laura and I never did that. So what if Barack Obama said, "I'll make no mistake about it, I'm not a porno star. Could you advance the teleprompter? Okay. I think this guy should admit to having never been a porno star either." Ooh. Don't ever call me a porno star.
Yeah, well, I did that as a result of people coming into our show acting like these creatures right here. Well, I know, it's not easy. Would you rather have some of my other friends from the hood? We've got those people on tap too. Which would you prefer, the lumpies, the blimpies, or the aliens? You know, I got them all on tap here. Whatever you want. Okay. All right, so, yeah, we're going to talk about how you're going to migrate somehow out of this hole that you're in. And the hole you're in is a place where they are brainwashing you. The mainstream media is telling you what to think. The talking points that are rolling around your head really revolve around porn and what's for dinner. And should you drink a beer? I know that. I understand that's where you're coming from. But there's a little blinking light somewhere in the back of your brain that's still alive. And it's about ready to wake up. Because the future is really dependent upon you waking up. And if you don't wake up, guess what happens? Like the lemmings, you go over the cliff. Beekman has a background? That's disgusting. That's absolutely disgusting, Beekman. I could never play that. That doesn't even meet the criteria of our Halloween show. Showing aborted fetuses is not something that I want to put on our show. Thank you. Yeah, I don't want to... Please don't post that anymore. Thank you. That's disgusting. No, you're not on LSD. You're on a psychotropic that's being delivered to you by air in the form of chemtrails. The psychotropic is called lithium, and it's designed to make you dull and kind of a lethargic. Dull and insipid. I was going to say insipid, but that's the word, insipid. Dull and insipid. And you're not really, having any high points, and you're not really having any low points. You're just kind of like in a daze. Like these two things that are the munchie and the whatever. No, it's not anemia. Anemia mocks the symptoms of lithium. Or I should say lithium mocks the symptoms of anemia. Sorry, thanks. I'm not a doctor, but I can tell you that you can look all this up online and look under the dangers of lithium exposure and take a look at the unpublished map of the massive plume of Fukushima radioactive material that's floating over your head. And while you're at it, why don't you look at a couple of links that'll blow your mind. Let me go back to the other story. There's a Scottish nurse who had Ebola that's now experiencing symptoms again. Remember the Ebola survivor from Scotland? Well, guess what? She's critically ill again. So these Ebola viruses that were brought into our country by Barack Obama, and over 1,400 people were remotely contacted and are being watched right now. You won't hear that on the mainstream media, but 1,400 is a lot. This woman, the case adds yet another terrifying layer to the Ebola outbreak. A Scottish nurse who recovered from Ebola 10 months ago has been rehospitalized, is now critically ill in London. So all of these patients that are being looked at, probably the government isn't even bothering now. I mean, there's that story that they screwed up with the anthrax, 84 cases of anthrax. One bubonic plague got out as well. There's 14 people in the U.S. with the bubonic plague. Yeah, if they were planning on turning our country upside down, the first thing they'd do is douse us with massive amounts of lithium. Okay? So, that's the newest chemtrail to talk about, aside from all the others that we've been discussing. But the new one really is lithium. And I want to show you, there's a story, a credible story that I've been reading about it at this location. That's just ridiculous. Beekman, you're kind of lowering the bar here. We need to raise it. So what we're seeing now is a genuine dispersal of lithium over an area of Oregon. And somebody in our chat room said recently, he said, hey, didn't they just legalize marijuana in Oregon? Why not? Maybe that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to bring everybody into Oregon or Washington, because we're getting the same stuff up where we are. I'm running air filters like max on all of my air filters are running maximum with ionizers all the time now. But look at this story if you get a chance tonight. It's called Lithium and the Experiment Over Oregon. It's completely legal what the government is doing. And when I say that, they are legally allowed to use any place in the West Coast or the East Coast as a nuclear, biological, or chemical testing area. And this story alludes to a report that came from a guy named Locke, who works in the industry. And he says, for example, I could have warned thousands of people of the ongoing spraying to manufacture stagnation in the Rogue and Umpqua valleys. Remember Umpqua Community College, the alleged shooting? As well as much of the Oregon coast south of Florence. The artificially induced period of air stagnation is part of a large experiment testing the efficacy of psychoactive chemical dispersal. Okay? Psychoactive chemical dispersal from high altitudes. Serious. This is really going on, and it's completely legal based on the laws as they're constructed right now in America. Now, you may not care that you're being slowly poisoned with lithium. I do. I can't believe this is happening, but I'm looking all around, and I'm seeing it happening around my area. And I'm seeing people in my markets, in my area, starting to look like these creatures. They just are. You move to the country, voodoo, to escape the crime and police brutality and to prepare for the zombie apocalypse, only to have my loving dogs get hyperthyroidism from the farm behind me, spraying toxins on their corn. Help us. Wow. Dude. I really feel for you, man. Yeah. Yeah, efficacy of psychoactive chemical dispersal from high altitudes. So this is a big story. Yeah, the irony, I know. Well, let me tell you what happened to me when I moved up here from California, from Los Angeles. I used to live in LA 20 years ago. And I moved up here to Washington to get the fresh air and all that. I got jet fuel. I mean, I used to drive the 405 with a gas mask on to and from work every day for 20 years. It was unbelievable. I literally was wearing a gas mask when I drove to work because the smog was so bad. I'm not kidding either. People would look at me and go, look at this guy, he's wearing a gas mask. But no, really, I was, you can believe it. Definitely. I fled to come up here because I was just a block away from a shooting in my neighborhood in Rancho Palos Verdes. I used to live out there, New San Pedro. There was a shooting at a market called Ralph's Marketplace, literally 200 feet away from my house. 3 a.m, 2 Japanese tourists came to, come to visit. They got to the Ralph's and went to the 24-hour Ralph store. These 2 Japanese men got in their car and proceeded to, get ready to leave, and they were shot in the back of their head by gang members. You passed me? Yeah, I figured you did. And what happened was it sparked this thing in my mind. I said, well, I really think that we can do better. That's a cool one. Thank you. I think we can do better by living somewhere else. So I kind of talked myself into staying for a while, and 1988 rolls around, 1990 rolls around, and then there's the LA riots in the early 90s, and that kind of put me over the edge. I went into an intersection right near my house, and it was green. I had a green light. I drove right through the intersection, and lo and behold, there was a gangland funeral going on without a police escort. And the gang members literally were driving through and they couldn't believe I was going through a green light. They just couldn't understand why I wasn't stopping. So they got out and they threatened out the window that they were going to kill me. And they had my license plate number and that I was going to be dead. And I got like at least 10 different death threats that day just from driving into a green light. Anyway, I am not a robot. You are incorrect. No, I've never had any coke deal. You guys are out of your mind, man. You in particular. Anyway, I decided to move up to Washington. So I rolled up here, transplanted my whole family up here. It's very traumatic. I've been through a lot of trauma in my life. You have no idea. My job is to inform you, yaboos. That's my day job. I retired 5 years ago because basically I saved up enough to retire at an early age. Let's talk about something else. The fact is, when I got up here, I started work right away. And I was working at a radio station. And I was following a guy, this was like 6 weeks after we moved up here, 20 years ago. I was following a guy down the road, and he was driving a big Suburban, an old one, like from the 70s. And those things get like 3 miles per gallon, right? He was driving 35 miles an hour in a 50 mile per hour zone. So I'm driving behind him, and I figure, well, I've got a client to get to because I had to sell some radio time. And I decided to just, pass him. Well, he didn't want to be passed. I didn't do anything but pass him. He followed me into town. He got out of his truck right when I was walking into my client, pulled a shotgun on me, pumped it, full scale, and said, "I'm going to blow your head off, man." And he literally had the gun ready to pull. Now, I'm not going to tell you what happened after that, because that's going to be my book. But the whole story of leaving a place to escape to a rural area and expecting something tranquil and wonderful, don't kid yourself, folks. We're all in a situation where we're in an urban battlefield no matter where you are in America. It could be in a rural area. In your case, you're getting your kids or your dogs are dying because of spray from some farmer who has no idea the danger of what they're doing with chemicals, fertilizer, and how it's affecting the corn crop. So yeah, we're going to run into this everywhere we turn because stupidity is reigning supreme in America right now. Thank you, Voodoo. You think you're turning into a robot? You really think so? Okay. Whoever it was, I dealt with it. Yeah, well, Voodoo you can talk to, this is an open forum. It really is not someplace I want to ban people. I only ban this one guy who has like 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 usernames. And he comes in here and he tries to attack me, claiming he's a CIA agent and does profiling and all this crap. And then he's the same guy that claims that I'm some sort of a weird cocaine dealer. He claims I am. I'm not. It's crazy. So we need to dodge the bullet here on this one and find a new topic. I'm done with Blobby. Bye Blobby. And bye Munchie. And bye Background. I'm done with the Matrix. Oh, I was going to show you that one thing. What really is the Matrix? I'll check the iPad Goat. Yeah, I want to get my reaction. Anyway, so in 1988, Conspiracy Club has this story here, 1999. This little tidbit of information is really interesting. It talks about the foreshadowing that goes on in television and film. But if they have a plan to start something like a war, they usually come up with a false flag. No, I don't do IP tracking. I'm not allowed to. Only the government can do that. No, I don't grind my jaw like a cokehead. You're a nutcase. God, what a nutcase. It's like crazy, man. Cokeheads will go. At least the ones I've encountered in life. Chauvinistic. I'm trying to help everybody here. All right, so we look at this thing and we go, wow, what could this be about? Well, look at this. In 1999, The Matrix, we see a photocopy of Neo's passport. It was issued on September 12th, 1991, and expires on September 11th, 2001. Strange, odd fact has led to debate of coincidence versus conspiracy. But the fact remains, the passport shown in the 1999 movie does show the date of 9/11/2001. So are these people on the inside track of something that they're doing, like triggering a war or two wars? And now we find out that Barack Obama is planning on staying in Afghanistan, unlike what he said before. Which makes you wonder, is he really truly owned and operated by foreign power? Or by the CIA or whoever's profiting from Afghanistan? And that raises the question, what do we have to gain by being in Afghanistan? Well, opium levels have increased dramatically. Last year alone, they increased 17%, the number of opium crops produced, all because we're there. So if you don't connect the dots there, and I know the media and the mainstream media will never do this, but if you don't connect the dots, you don't see the trend. And the trend is pretty obvious. When you look deeper, you see that this positioning, ever since our re-involvement in that country, after 01, it went right up. By 08, it was basically started skyrocketing again. 08, 09, 010, and now they're producing even more than the top green line. It's even higher than that. 2015 is going to be a bumper crop. And this is leading to cheap heroin on the streets of America, which is killing people. Well, guess what? That's their agenda. They want to get rid of people. So it works. It's a work. It's a win-win. Depopulation, war. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Depopulation and war, and how war leads to depopulation. Do not post any kind of phone number for a good time here. Thank you. Well, yeah, I wanted to bring you those weird characters because I wanted you to know that something's going on in our country and it's not normal. So I'm trying to help everybody understand that whoever's behind this incredible desire to create war and cheap heroin on the streets of America and illegal immigrants coming into our country left and right, and Donald Trump trying to profit from all of this because he's running out of money or something. I don't know what his motive is. He doesn't seem like he cares about the country because he really wants to throw people under the bus. He just wants to throw Mexicans under the bus. He wants to deport Muslims, which of course is impossible. It would turn our country upside down and create a police state. So that's not the answer. He doesn't want to work with people, kind of like Barack Obama doesn't want to work with people. You notice that? Who are you talking to, Yaboos? Because you're out of here, buddy. Yeah, Yabus is one of these mindless liberals that thinks that I should just talk about jobs all day long. Wow. And they don't even produce jobs. Ironically, the unemployment rate is now at 38%. It's unbelievable. Yes, she is. Yeah, I had to ban her. It becomes, well, I am liberal. Yeah, I'm also a fiscal conservative. Yeah, let me do the numbers for you. The unemployment is not 5.1%. In case you have a moment to actually have a brain, and I'm going to make you use a calculator, so you'll like that. You won't have to do this in your head. I'll make it real big so you can look at it. All right? There's 96 million people unemployed in America right now. All right? Out of a potential workforce of about 250 million people. So I'm going to divide by 250 million to come up with a ratio. Okay? And look what I come up with. 38% unemployment. And you're going, well, that's not what they told me on TV. No, it isn't. 38% unemployment. Thank you. Whew. David, you see the city in the sky in China? Could be a mirage. Yeah, it's a Project Bluebeam. There's a couple things that are floating out there. There's one that appeared in Arab territory of a flying horse. That's Project Bluebeam. They're working on a way to create a physical abnormality, a hologram, if you will, that will convince people that the end of the world is coming so they'll panic. This is all part of a psyops that's coming to theaters and realities near you. Project Bluebeam is a bona fide project, yeah. It's definitely being put into play. Look, they're willing to poison the atmosphere to test psychotropic drugs. Are you with me? They're willing to fly planes around in circles that really wouldn't be able to defend our country even if they were put to task because, frankly, they don't think there is going to be an attack. And the more I talk, the more people hate me and the more people want to, stop the message. Especially get rid of the messenger. And the more I reveal the truth, the scumbags and urchins come out in the chat room and I have to ban them. But you see how this works? This is a real life experience of what it's like to filter through crap in your life and come down to what really matters. Well, there's one person that continually hates on me. Yeah. We know who he is too. They wanted to use Project Bluebeam in Iraq from an inside source, but thought it might ignite the war. Yeah. Well, Project Bluebeam is not that complicated, really, when you think about it. I mean, it's not too difficult to imagine particles in the air manipulated with electromagnetic waves to create an image, a three-dimensional image. No, I support free speech, but I'm banning you because all you do is demoralize me or the supporters in our room. So I'm banning you, not because you're using free speech, because you're using slander. You need to look up what free speech is. And I'll be banning you into the evening. I have no problem. I can hit the ban button just as fast as you can come into the room. Wow. That's a good one. I'm not here to see numbers or anything at this point. I'm here to weed out the truth, and you want to talk about Project Bluebeam. Well, he can re-enter the room because guest chat being allowed so that you can chat doesn't have any controls. Whereas if I require everybody to have a username, we wouldn't have this open chat. We wouldn't have as many ideas being floated through the room at any given time. The video that has Obama crapping in his pants, really? I didn't know that happens. Oh yeah, Obama is panicking after the shocking video of the Iranian nuclear site is being revealed by CNN. Yeah, you know, Obama set up a plan to work with Obama just wants to put a feather in his hat. So we'll have him back here in the talking about it. But yeah, there's a lot of censorship going on, guys. You don't even understand how deep into it we are. You have no idea. We're being censored on YouTube and countless other areas. This whole effort is down to word of mouth. If you don't see that as a potential, then you should go, watch what happens when the two parties destroy the country. Feel free. I took a picture of it last night. Let's see if I can get to it.
Looks almost like a scene from an action movie. Dozens of ballistic missile launching systems inside a gigantic cave. But the video shows Iran's missile program is very real and very big, as the head of the Elite Revolutionary Guard's Aerospace Division says. The missiles in various ranges are mounted on launchers in all bases and are ready to be launched, he told an Iranian state TV reporter, and added, that is, if enemies make a mistake. The video was published only days after Iran test-fired a new generation of ballistic missiles Tehran says are capable of reaching targets in Israel, possibly breaching UN resolutions the U.S. believes.
We've got strong indications that those missile tests did violate UN Security Council resolutions that pertain to Iran's ballistic missile activities.
But why this saber-rattling so shortly after the nuclear agreement that many believe will help improve relations between Iran and the West? Iranian hardliners and the powerful conservative clergy and in the military say they fear American influence on the country could expand and warned their followers at recent Friday prayers. We will never allow America to enter into our culture, into our economy, or for the great Satan to influence our policy, the Supreme Leader's military advisor said. Anti-American and anti-Israeli rhetoric have increased with Iran's...
Okay, well, we're definitely concerned about this as it evolves. Barack Obama orchestrated a feather in his cap type policy that would ultimately weaken our nation's position with Iran, and Iran is just laughing at us. This is all predictable. I'm not going to name blame at this point. We have to move on. The whole support of ISIS has got to stop by the CIA. We shouldn't be training these forces in our Jordanian training camps. They shouldn't be getting brand new Toyotas like the State Department request order and the procurement order says. Whatever's going on behind the scrim in Washington at the Pentagon has got to be changed. The policies have to be completely reversed. We are in a very vulnerable position because we're basically the most powerful nation in the world militarily. And we're being hijacked and used for nefarious purposes. Now, I appeal to the American people now to wake up to what's really going on. If we don't start to recognize the influence that money has over our government, this is not a joke. This is serious. If we don't recognize the influence that money has over our government as citizens, as voters, we're never going to have any representative in Washington to fight for our rights. Now, you've seen the whole chimera, the facade of Barack Obama slowly wither. Even though he still puts on a show, the credibility factor has completely disappeared with this guy. He's been, like I said from the very beginning in 2008, a lame duck president from the very beginning. Now, people that come and attack me in the show, bear in mind, this is a constant problem that we face every day. And we've been facing it every day for 7 years, 4 hours a night, 7,000 hours. So don't be dissuaded by the nature of chat as we know it. And many of you over in the other network that I'm not monitoring, I hope you realize that I will be monitoring your network in the future. But we have to keep the dialogue rolling. And one of the problems we've had is these leaders, they think they can lie to us. They can pretend like they're not working on a nuclear weapon. They can even write a piece of paper, which means nothing to them, and get $155 billion. Folks, Obama is a fool for even negotiating with terrorists. Okay? And it's completely against our policy to do that. So bear in mind, many of you who did vote for Obama and are still like, well, maybe give him another year. Sorry. Not a good thing. Obama is nothing in terms of what he pretended to be. He was never going to reduce the budget by 1.7 trillion. They never were going to ever present a public option like many of you Democrats wanted, like I wanted, like we have on our website right now. A public option for people that want to, get a government-run insurance business without all the middlemen, a cheaper alternative. And I have this great plan. I'd love to share it with you. But at this point, all our plans are on our website. We're trying to battle with the lack of communication and the censorship that's going on in our media and in our politics. That's what's really going on. So yeah, making a deal with Iran was a huge mistake. And John Kerry, I think, is more about making a name for himself. And same with Barack Obama. It's more about their name, not about reality. Anybody who claims to be a member of the CIA clearly isn't. They would never come into the room, and they would never, ever claim they're in the CIA. That's breaking protocol just right there and then. I mean, you can see this person is delusional and obviously suffering from some sort of grandiosity. But as you can see, we have to keep banning him every time. Anyway, he has a hidden agenda. He's psychotic and he has no friends. And he lives in our room only to hate on us. He derives energy and food from negativity. You probably know people like that in your life. That's what I'm dealing with. It's really sad, actually, Scissor Fight. And when I'm president, we'll have that guy arrested and charged. And he'll have a trial. But I've got enough information and evidence right now against him to put him away for at least 20 years. Yeah, a CNN correspondent was arrested recently for lying and saying he was a CIA agent. It's a felony, by the way. I know, and that's part of the thing we're going to add to it. Pretending to be a CIA agent. Unbelievable. All right, so sorting this whole thing out, figuring out why our opium production has increased because of the military presence, you're starting to understand what's happening. I've spent a lot of time in here telling you all the reasons why our country is being put in jeopardy. Most of it boils down to one thing. They literally think they can control our nation, the apparatus of our nation, the military, everything about our country can easily be controlled with money. Money, cash. They can do this. They really believe they have that ability. So, we've got the richest and the most greedy people running for president. It was a Fox correspondent, wasn't CNN. Thanks for clarifying, 505. Thank you. We got a feed from Brian Williams at MSNBC. Go ahead, Brian. Forget it. He can't be trusted. Well, I guess it is over for you. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a force to be reckoned with. I have a plan that is bigger than anything the Democrats, Republicans could even imagine. It's actually a plan to build our nation up, make it strong again, shore up our borders with our troops coming home, actually replacing certain border patrol that are corrupt and greedy and on the take, and bringing in actual National Guardsmen on the border themselves. I'm going to be reducing the cost of our budget significantly by phasing out the TSA and bringing in actual military personnel in plain clothes. No different than what you're seeing today at the airport, but you're going to see things run a lot smoother at the airports. We're going to have less of this ridiculous, unnecessary rapid scan crap that they put out. That was $24 billion, by the way. We will use rapid scanners, but we will task them on luggage, an area that we clearly need to tighten up our loopholes. A recent study, an audit of an internal audit by the Department of Homeland Security actually showed that the TSA was 90% ineffective in stopping anything, whether somebody's carrying contraband or anything. 90% ineffective. I want everyone to know that through this whole process of banning this scumbag that comes in here, deep in my heart, I care about the future of this country, but more importantly, I care about the future of the world. Now, I don't put the world ahead of this country. Unlike Obama and the Democrats and the Republicans that are siding with whoever finances their campaign, I actually believe that we can lead by example and show the rest of the world that this nation will stop being a bully and more of a friend to other nations. And we will lead by example in areas of renewable energy development and the future of green, clean technology. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff to talk about. That link I showed you from the Oregon coastline is alarming, extremely disturbing, and I took it seriously. And then I looked in my own skies and I saw what was happening. It's very disturbing that they think that they can get away with this, using psychotropic drugs on the American people to test their effectiveness, like lithium. I mean, it's unheard of. This is up there with Hitler and the behavior he engaged in prior to killing off all the ethnic minorities. You'll see, this is the inner side of this guy, see? I'm going to ban him now, but you can see in the chat room, he writes these things. This is the guy that has been pretty much slandering me on a daily basis. He's a Nazi. Core Nazi. He basically he's goose-stepping to Adolf Hitler. It's bizarre. And he keeps coming in here and he hangs out in our room, and it's so pathetic. But I don't want our country to deport people unless they're at the border coming in, and then we have a great solution for that, border control, which is to actually turn every single agent at the border into a judge, a federal judge, and offer them their legal rights to a short trial, speedy trial, and determine if they are in fact a deportee, and then they go back home. We don't hurt them. But my idea of putting the military at the border initially is part of a long plan that I put in place 8 years ago. I talked about the border fence, the 1,000-mile border fence, and now Donald Trump is pretending like it's his idea. Michelle Bachmann took my idea and ran with it in the 2012 election. Well, I know it's one person. Yeah, but it could be two. But it doesn't really matter at this point. We have the voices of 3 separate people that tried to swat me recently. And that voice print that they've already done is enough for me to actually find them someday. So I have great confidence that we will actually apprehend these people and we'll put them in jail for their crimes. A guy's just recently arrested in Connecticut for swatting people, 6 different groups. Yeah, stop voting for idiots like the Clintons, the Obamas, and the Trumps. I hate to say, but he's got just as much experience as I do running a government job. That alone is a question mark for a lot of you. But more importantly, he's greedy. And he's all about Donald Trump. He's not about the country. But these ideas, there's more where that came from. So I'm not worried about him taking my ideas. But the bottom line is, if you want the source of great ideas, you have to get the source of great ideas elected. So I could come up with even more great ideas. But I've got the Pay Americans plan, Pay Americans First plan, which is to stop funding for non-U.S. citizens. Food stamps, welfare, Social Security, benefits. I mean, these people, non-U.S. citizens, believe it or not, are collecting EIC credits, earned income tax credits. Now here's a governor who's stepping up. Governor Mark Dayton attended a community conversation about race hosted by the St. Cloud, told people who've been questioning refugee resettlement in the central Minnesota area. Hey, I'm glad he's coming out talking about it. Mark Dayton, Minnesota governor, speaking out, questioning the refugee settlement. Definitely should leave his state. I feel for him. I really, he could very well have a big problem on his hands. Donald Trump came in the Ustream chat, which is the weirdest place of all to come in 3 years ago. I don't need to prove that. I would never do such a thing. Look, I was traumatized by the swatting event 7 weeks ago. I would never do that to gain attention. That's ridiculous. And I didn't even gain any real attention. The fact of the matter is they didn't even interview. They didn't show any of the interview that I did. I did over 20 minutes of interview, and they didn't show anything in the interview. So, I mean, it's not like they grandstanded and turned this into something. It's not something I would ever have wanted to happen. I want to be talked to by the media about the issues. And I don't want it to happen on the backs of something as tragic as that. You know, if I had had a child, it would have been even more tragic. It would have been incredibly traumatic for the child. So luckily I don't have children. That's one of the reasons why I'm not in any way as traumatized as I would have been. But yeah, it's scary. Doing this is not safe in some ways. I'm taking huge risks trying to help this country out. And I'm taking a huge effort personally to do this on a nightly basis for 7 years for no personal gain at all. And everything that we do is completely published with the FEC on a regular basis. So we meet the quarterly requirements of submitting any kind of a donation we get, and it goes into a separate bank account, and we're not drawing from it. We're not like the Clintons and the Clinton Initiative. We don't draw salaries from any of this. I would never want to take advantage of a situation like that happened to me and turn it into something. No, I need to be talked to on the issues. I've got enough going for me right now to really raise a stink in American politics simply talking about the issues. They wouldn't know what to do with me, honestly. Because I ask huge questions like fluoridation in our water system, there's no scientific evidence that proves it helps tooth decay. Yet there is scientific evidence that lowers the IQ of our population. I mean, nobody in the mainstream media has ever heard those words. The question about Afghanistan and the opium trade increasing rapidly over the past 7 to 8 years. No one in the mainstream media has heard those words. GMOs, the dangers to our life and limb, and the fact that they're engineering what appears to be birth control through the use of GMOs. No one ever hears these issues in the mainstream media. The suppression of vaccination information and the death now of 12 holistic doctors. No one can really determine how they or why they died, and all of them were investigating. Literally, all of them were investigating the issue of a product that they found in vaccinations that may trigger or cause tumors. Nobody in the mainstream media is talking about that, and I've got to literally knock people out who say, "No, help save America, vote him, vote Trump." Ugh. No, this is insane. Trump doesn't even touch on any of these issues. And you know something that's really missing from the Trump dialogue is the Fed. You know, the Republican Party would like to just forget that the Tea Party even exists. So I'm imploring all Tea Party people to come into America's Third Party and vote for me in the 2016 election, because I'm as close to a Tea Party member in terms of fiscal conservancy as they are. I want to cut the size of government. I recognize we've become a behemoth of bureaucracy that needs to be trimmed. And I can tell you, I have a plan to do that. The fact is, with suppression of information and censorship at an unbelievable scale, you're never going to get a guy as good as me in the White House. You're going to have a scumbag like Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump run for president and ruin our nation, take us into a whole hellish world of abuse by foreign powers and monetary elitists. The Fed, I will work to end the Fed by 2017, by the end of 2017. I will come up with a plan with an infrastructure bank that will run parallel to the Federal Reserve, and we can pick up where they left off. But we can fix this problem. Israeli-American terror machine, which is now gearing up to fight a major internal war against the American people. Yeah. They're weakening our country, and they're literally attacking us slowly with these chemtrails. Destroying the best economy we have in California with routes. This is one of their plans. Uh-oh, Paris Hilton, stop the press, everybody. Paris Hilton is trapped in an elevator. Hold the phone. This is from TMZ. Paris trapped in an elevator in China. which is what Paris Hilton and a group of people need, along with some fresh air, after they got stuck in a crowded elevator in Beijing. Everything starts off relatively calm inside the lift from the video Paris shot, but things turn into panic when security mechanics can't pry the doors open. You can hear people scream. Hilton even sends out a shout out to the man above. Wow. We know Paris is a good actress, but it doesn't sound like she's faking this time. The whole ordeal lasted about an hour until someone risked an arm to get the doors unstuck. Well, people are dying all around the world. You know, see what I mean about the mainstream media? It's kind of like, oh, look at Paris Hilton. Oh, let's talk about her. That's why people come in the room and talk about my hair for about a half an hour. So I have a little colic. It's official. Their agenda to stifle all dissent and continue unchallenged and unabated in their quest to transform America into Gaza 2, the world's newest and largest open-air prison camp, and make us all their new Palestinians. That's right. This is a left move, a move from the left. And the elitists, they don't care whether they support the right or the left. They'll go to the right and donate $50,000 plate dinners to Jeb Bush, or they'll go to the left and donate to Hillary. They don't even care. They know that they've got the money to cover both sides and control the game. What they don't control, folks, is me. They have no control over what comes out of my mouth, and they never will. I'll never, ever be viable. I'm a person who's willing to give my life to this venture. Even if it means losing my life, at least you'll know that a person is speaking honestly and truly to the American people on a daily basis, and you will be living the presidency when you see me on our chat show every night. 1 hour a night, I will talk about the issues pending in the day, and I will give you a real, candid interview on a nightly basis. That's one of the goals I have, is to have a nightly chat room in the Oval Office. It's a colic. You can't pronounce it colic. The word cowlick sounds just so weird. Colic is the pronunciation. The correct pronunciation is colic. You may want to check that. So yeah, we don't want to turn into these blobbies, these things that shapeshift and turn into just consumers that have no thoughts, no brain. If you're a blobby or a munchie, I consider these the Democrats and these the Republicans. The reason why I consider these the Republicans, so maybe I should put these people, well, they're in the position they need to be. The Republicans are constantly greedy, and they want more, and they even say, well, big business will solve it. No, actually, big business cares one thing. They only care about profit. They don't care about people. And then you got these blobbies that think, well, we need to constantly tax and provide more free programs for people. Huh? Colic, thank you. The difference between me and the other third-party candidates? Sure. I support legalization of marijuana. I support getting out of foreign wars. I support creating new green, clean technologies. But I also have right-wing positions like a 1,000-mile fence along the border with Mexico, a brand new policy called fast-track naturalization, which puts people back in their home country to get U.S. citizenship. We've got 3 or 4 different plans that will trigger new economic growth, whereas most of the other third-party candidates don't have those plans. We've got the mobile medical unit system, we've got homestead renewal plan, and we've got incredible ideas to save the nation a tremendous amount of government waste. And then most third-party people can't even put a handle on it. We actually pull up the monthly Treasury report once a week and look at it and find out areas and pinpoint areas where we're going to cut. We'll save up to $1 trillion off the budget in 2017. I put together a plan for a zero deficit by 2017. Nobody else that I know of can do that. The Republicans have a plan by 2024. Mine will be implemented in 2017. And anybody who comes in attacking me on a nightly basis is really desperate. What they're trying to do is simply derail a very popular movement that's growing every day, which is kind of amazing. And I really appreciate your effort, guys. Okay, I'm going to remove the blob and also Munchie. At least I didn't post Beekman's picture of a human. It looked so bizarre. It would, like, God. Not everyone has erectile dysfunction. You know, talking about Howard Stern is not appropriate in the show. Thank you. Okay, I don't think that's a relevant story, but thanks. Shape-shifting reptiles rape me on the moon? I mean, really? Has it come to that? No, there's no truth to anything he said, 642. I have absolutely no knowledge of this person they claim that has some cocaine deal with somebody. I have no idea what they're talking about. And I urge any one of you to take out a $39 background check on me and find out definitively that I am spotless. I have never done anything wrong in my life. And I've done the right things because I really wanted to preserve this, to move on, to help the American people with a legitimate, honest approach to government. I'm never ever going to understand the mindset of somebody who comes up with crap just to try to, discredit me. They've got to be mentally ill. I mean, there's only one reason why they would do it. They're mentally ill. It has to be. Well, we did a little extra on the show. I can give you another 15 minutes of after show because it's Friday, and I thought that would be fun. But we do a show every night, and it's not easy to do a constant show. As you know, this is not scripted. And we've never had a teleprompter. I've never read anything other than chat. The coffee is strictly hazelnut coffee with a little bit of store-bought mixed in. And I do it just to keep my vocal cords loose for 4 hours while I talk. Most people couldn't handle 2 hours. I do this 4 hours, 7 years, 7,000 hours have been put into this show. I've got incredible stamina. And I can tell you that not many people have this type of energy at the age of 55, but I do. And it makes me a rather unique individual to be running for president. I'm also a person who doesn't take any mood elevators or alterations of my consciousness like drugs. The only thing I'm on is caffeine in my coffee. And an occasional puff off of a vaporizer. But that's not something I would do during the show. So I live in recreational use state of Washington. I don't consider pot a drug. It's an herb. And I don't consider caffeine a drug either. It's coffee. If you want to label everything, go right ahead. You can label yourself a psychotic, delusional communist if you want. But yeah, getting a legalization plan off the ground has been a big part of what I've been doing. In 1980... I think it was like 1981. Thank you. Well, I'm 55 because I'm, living a good life, I guess. In 1981, I saw a show on TV that in Los Angeles, and it was a show called Wally George. And the reason why I saw it is I met a guy at UCLA and had a lengthy conversation with this pot enthusiast. And I met Bud Green. This guy, it was quite an amazing guy, and he actually introduced
Norm LeBeau, head of the religion of drugs. He came on the show to tell me that he has inside information that Nancy Reagan really did take drugs. Watch. Yes, can you believe that? Now, I understand, Reverend, that you told me backstage, and I've heard around that you have inside information where you know that Nancy Reagan did indeed smoke pot. Oh, come on. Now, how can you walk around? What kind of information do you have?
Well, one of the members of our religion was at that pot party that Kitty Kelly talked about.
So I met this guy, Bud Green, and it was just so weird. And I realized that Wally was onto something at the time, and I thought, well, sure, we're going to see legalization of marijuana sometime in our near future. This is like dating back to way back in early 1991. Thank you. But the story is really an ongoing story that people have been trying to promote legalization of marijuana for so long. It's pathetic. Even in the 1960s, that they actually, Philip Morris and R.G. Reynolds had a plan to actually start growing marijuana. Yeah, I'm sure that Ronald Reagan dispersed a little cocaine, that's for sure, yeah. So the fact that even the cigarette companies were like blown away by the conservatism that swept over our country when Nancy and Ronald Reagan took over the office of president. Well, no one is going to allow legalization. Richard Nixon put it on, well, he signed the Controlled Substances Act, and Nancy, do you want another Valium? I have 2 in the bottle here for you. Total hypocrites. Nancy's like totally, I know she's still alive, but she was totally, you know, on some pharmaceuticals. We should have turned over what Nixon did at that time. Jimmy Carter should have overturned it. Really. But he didn't.
I don't think I ever smoked a marijuana cigarette, but I did lust after a Playboy magazine.
Poor Jimmy Carter is now suffering from brain cancer. I don't want to speak, ill of a guy who's suffering such much. But bottom line is he could have reversed it right there. And any president from Jimmy Carter on, including Barack Obama, could have removed it from the list of controlled substances with presidential order. Now, we can fight it out legally, but it is definitely medicinal. And I can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that it's medicinal in countless studies now. And the government would spend all these years back then, and Reverend Bud Green and all these, the religion of drugs, these people just were fighting a losing battle. And I thought, I'm kind of conservative in some ways, but I thought, well, legalizing marijuana totally makes sense for our country. There are some people, even like Dick Cheney, that support legalization of all drugs. You never could guess that Dick Cheney would support legalization of all drugs, but there are Republicans and Democrats that are talking about all drugs. But I'm on board with legalization of marijuana, and once 2/3 of the country support all drugs, then I'll join in. I want to do what people want in this country. Now, 72% of the people polled in the age category of 18 to 25 want to legalize marijuana. 72%, that's more than a 2/3 majority. I would never, ever leave Sarah for anyone else. Sarah and I are committed to each other for life. And when you have a monogamous relationship with somebody, you really begin to appreciate it. It's such a nice feeling to trust somebody. Trust is everything. It's the reason why a lot of marriages are breaking up, because of lack of trust. You don't need marriage to have trust. Trust is the most important thing you have in life with someone. Excuse me. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you. Nice hearing from you. Take care. Bye-bye. Wow. I wouldn't want any other person besides Sarah, because you don't need a new person in life. That's just a fallacy. A lot of you guys are led to believe that, you got to have constant entertainment. No. The behavior of men that do that go out to, Orgy Island, those people are they're despicable. And lo and behold, yeah. Oh, really? He's getting a heart pump? I thought he was getting something else pumped. I hope Lamar makes it. Yeah, he really needs to, get some help. Yeah, he really, going on a bender like that is indicative of a lot of personal problems. Yeah, so other people who are involved in this type of thing, they need to be revealed. And I'm going to bring you the truth right now about Donald Trump. He's basically solicited Jeffrey Epstein for his services. He was named numerous times in Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book. Now, if you haven't heard about Jeffrey Epstein, you need to Google it. Yes, the Iranian nuclear testing is still going on. We knew this. I was forthright about how we should never sign an agreement with Iran. I've said that from the very beginning. And sure enough, the reveal that CNN had, or Fox, or whoever had it, CNN, it shows that Iran is clearly developing missiles to destroy Israel, just as Israel has been saying for the past 6 to 10 years. And they've been trying to stop this. Yeah, we've been aware of the Iranian nuclear testing. Like I said, you Democrats who've been siding with Barack Obama and John Kerry have been making a huge mistake. You just don't understand that the politics of the world is not as simple as just signing an agreement with a terrorist and making everything better. It's a lot worse than that. It never works the way they say it's going to work. And I can tell you that these people gave up $155 billion of our money to a terrorist organization that wants to destroy Israel. You Democrats have to rethink what you're doing. It's time for you to ask, you think you can afford to continue being a Democrat considering how ineffective and useless they've become? And how they're siding with the corporate entities like the World Bank, doing their bidding, starting wars around the world? Or can you possibly side with some global elitist like Donald Trump, who thinks that he can buy our country? No, I don't know why Mike Marvin 78 is banned, but he may have said something. I will unban him. And anybody who really wants to be unbanned can be unbanned. Yeah, we just can't unban all. Okay, silver and gold are still gold. Silver is actually migrating upwards. Nice. Thank you, Scissor Fight. But this story about Donald Trump has never made the mainstream media. I can give you the link here. The guys over at Gawker are doing a pretty good job of revealing the truth about what's going on here. Jeffrey Epstein was charged with pedophilia, and Donald Trump is on his blacklist, along with Alan Dershowitz and a couple of other people, Courtney Love. So you got a presidential candidate who is willing to seek prostitutes while he's married. I mean, if Trump wants out of the race, then he should just say he's done. He can't handle it. This is an incredibly difficult environment for anybody to be in. I'm uniquely suited for the presidency and the run for the presidency because I am perhaps one of the few people in the world who can talk fluently without a teleprompter. Okay, Mike, you're out. I hope you liked being back. I'm not sure why you're banned, but come on back. Yeah, the Little Black Book is pretty indicative of some pretty nasty things that went on. The butler had it, and he kept it until his dying day, and that went on to his estate. Well, Trump is driving people toward Hillary, and people look at Hillary and they're going, what is wrong with this person? She's so controlled. Thank you, Mike. I want to pay attention. Anybody else want to be unbanned here? There are at least 2 or 3 different versions of Hillary. And one of the things we discussed this past week, which was alarming, was that Hillary actually told Vanity Fair that she's not even human. We're not sure which version this one is. Yeah, there's an older version of her. There's a newer version of her. I mean, this is the original picture right around Benghazi, before her head injury, where things kind of changed for her. We don't know what happened with her head. But she wasn't able to do any speeches at the subcommittee hearings because of a brain problem. Yeah, I know. Trump is a little slippery. We know that. But then you get pictures of just people that don't even resemble her. Does she have scars? I don't know. I've never examined her head or skull. But the many faces of Hillary Clinton, I mean, I don't know. I do know that the person that was at the debates looks kind of like this woman right here. One broke girl. Claiming she has no money. Yeah. Well, you know, no, I'm actually seeing different people. Very similar, though. I will add that much. But the ones that really stick in your mind, like that kind of looks like the one that spoke. The ones that stick in your mind are the ones where she doesn't want to comment on anything pertinent to her involvement in Benghazi. Those are the pictures that are most indicative of the Hillary we've grown to despise on TV. You know, she doesn't want to answer to anything. And saying you're sorry doesn't cut it. Hillary, are you watching the show? Well, which Hillary is watching the show? I don't really care if you want to say I should be careful. I live in America where I'm free to talk about political candidates. It's really no big deal. But when Vanity Fair went out on a limb, and you know how Vanity Fair has had suits against them before? This one's a real doozy, folks. If you haven't seen it, here's the Vanity Fair article. We published it this week in our show. Hillary Clinton is on record saying that she is not even human. Now, we're living in an age when robots could exist, much like, you know, animatronic presidential candidates. Sometimes on my technology show, I pretend like I'm a hologram or a robot or something. It's kind of funny. I don't have any coke dealing days. I've never done coke, and I don't involve myself with cocaine addicts. That's crazy. But let's look at Hillary right up here. I'm really not even a human being, she says. Yeah. Well, the whole story started with an interview, and a couple of her team members on her Iowa caucus were noting that she didn't sweat, and it was like hot as hell. I'm not Max Headroom. He was copied from me. I'm the original. The fact of the matter is, this is a woman who literally is unleashed when she's left on her own. She's unpredictable. They haven't honed the method of speaking, and apparently the AI intelligence isn't clever enough to disguise the truth. But we could very well be dealing with a person who is AI. One of her versions. Now, there's a lot riding on her presidency. $2.3 billion have come into play. $2.3 billion. Yeah. So, with $2.3 billion in her war chest, you can imagine how messed up it's going to get for these people that are backing her when she says things like, I'm not even a human being. After some banter over the thermostat and traditional facts about Clinton, BuzzFeed foolishly suggested Clinton was a robot. You don't provoke dangerous artificial intelligence. She immediately responds. Hillary Clinton says, you guys are the first to realize that I'm really not even a human being. I was constructed in a garage in Palo Alto a very long time ago. People think that, Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, they created it. I mean, a man whose name shall remain nameless created me in his garage. Are there more of you? She says, I thought he threw away the plans. At least that's what he told me when he programmed me. But that there would be no more. I've seen more people that kind of don't sweat and other things that make me think maybe they are part of the new race that he created, the robot race. I mean, this is over the top. How could a woman running for president start telling people in the press that she's not even a human being? Now, if she was joking, it'd be a different story. No, not one man. There's a whole group of people. It's not funny. It's sick. And you're stupid if you think that this isn't really happening. Of course they have potential computers or robots that could easily look or sound just like you or I. They do. They've got audio animatrized robotic dummies at Disneyland with plugs and wires connected pretending to be Abraham Lincoln. They've had him for over 40 years.
407 years ago, our forefathers came to the...
the whole guy, you just go to Disneyland, you'll see it. They probably still have it up there. Well, thanks for coming in, everybody. This has been really great. Tomorrow is our anti-war rally. Again, here is the link to the Vanity Fair article where Hillary says she's a robot. And if things couldn't get any weirder in the world, try not to go outside and breathe too many polluted chemtrail air above you. There are really things happening in the air that it's not good. They're using the West and East Coast as nuclear, biological, and chemical testing areas on the American people. Sorry to bring you the bad news, but that's what's going on, and they're doing it legally, by the way. Your government officials, your corrupt crony government officials allowed this. Now, I filed a complaint in 2010. Sarah and I filed numerous complaints about it. In 2012, we filed complaints with the environmental impact statement, and they just won't even listen to our complaints. They don't care about the people. They're willing to literally spray in the air endlessly because it's a test to see if they can kill off the population and dumb us all down. On that note, we'll see you tomorrow from 5 to 9. Hopefully I'll be in. If I don't get in right away, I'll be definitely in. And we will be doing the show. The anti-war rally continues tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Good night.